Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are you this evening? I want to thank you for coming out. Um, I appreciate your patience with me. I've not been live in almost a week, and I think tonight is actually an important night to be live. The Tonight we're having a open panel, and I did put Summer Wells, and I did put Monkey Vaughn, as well as I listed on there. Hello, cosplay. Hello, Carrie. How are you this evening? And I did put on there Robb Elementary. If you're unaware, Robb Elementary is an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas. And I might be mispronouncing that name, the town name wrong. It's Uvalde. I believe it's Uvalde. And they had a absolutely horrific event happen there today. Somebody, without the news or any media saying it, and we're not going to be able to prove it because this person that did this horrendous act uh, is has met their demise. We don't know at this time it was by his own hands or by the police. And I wanted to also give it time for them uh, to talk about that tonight because I believe it's just that big and important. Where you had a total of 16 lives that were lost. A teacher and 15 students, or 14 students and a teacher. My apologies. Were lost today. And they're not coming out with details yet, and I'm sure they will come out with the names and the what grade they were in or how old they were at a later time. But these are it's an elementary school that's set up for second through fourth grade students. Last update I had seen on this, and I haven't checked in probably an hour. I just needed to take a break and get my thoughts together. Is that he started off by shooting his mother, or grandmother rather, and then went to the elementary school. Mud Dog, how are you tonight? Yeah, the numbers are actually climbing. Cosplay. Like I said, the last time I actually checked on this was about an hour ago. I needed a little bit of time to take a break and gather my own thoughts and get my own head wrapped around this, or try to at least. And honestly, none of it makes any sense, and it's never ever going to make any sense. We may have a special guest. I'm waiting for any time for her to say she wants to join. It's purely up to her. Um, but it's never going to make sense. And I'm not comparing it to what happened in Buffalo because that is a racial motivated crime within itself. This was a school. This is apparently a Hispanic individual, and he went to a Hispanic school, a predominantly Hispanic school. And if you know me, I don't like breaking things down to demographics. I don't think that way. I think that, and this is why I wanted to do open panel tonight, is I wanted to give everybody an opportunity that, you know, maybe we need to pause on looking at Summer Wells and Michael Vaughn for one night and seriously look at this in its own. And I'm not against talking about Summer Wells tonight. I'm not against talking about Michael Vaughn. It's open panel. It's anybody wants to come up and join me, they're welcome to, and we can talk about it. I live in Tennessee, and if you know where the Tri Cities area is, I am from that area. That's the reason I cover Summer Wells, or part of the reason I cover Summer Wells. And I want to start off as tonight with something that I've heard almost every single person I tuned in, either on YouTube or I heard them tune in on the media news. You had a senator from Texas. You had a couple of different YouTube channels that they said, you've got to do something about people having guns. I don't disagree. You got to do something about people having guns, but I don't agree to what they're saying that you have to do. They're saying that they wanted people to take away guns. They want to get rid of guns altogether. And I don't remember what year it was. Maybe somebody in here will know. But North Carolina had a shooting at a church on a Wednesday night where a guy went to their Bible study and it landed up shooting and killing a majority of those that were attending that night. And yes, I'll admit that Tennessee had a knee-jerk reaction where it went and said, "Okay, we're going to go and we're going to do something about this so it doesn't happen to us." Mud Dog, yes, you are absolutely correct, but I'm not going to focus on the political tonight. At least that's not my intent, is to focus on the political tonight. That's a conversation that has to happen 2 and 3 weeks down the road yet. But I'm going to suggest that, what if, just like Tennessee, an open carry state, where churches now have people that are, I don't want to say part of administration, but uh, uh, they are given compensation for being part of a security team that is legally allowed to carry a handgun, where previously it was not allowed in that type of situation. Now, granted, the people that are on these um, that are on these groups, or part of this group, the security teams and whatnot, they actually have to go and pass an ongoing, and this is by law, they have to pass an ongoing psychology, not only background, but checkups that are, if the person is not passing them, they can't be part of the security team. Why can't we have a similar thing in schools? You already have persons on staff. You don't have to have, and the reason I say this is the part of the reason I say this is because I don't believe you can put enough security guards in a school system, armed security guards in a school. But I don't think you also can put armed security guards in a school. I think it's an environment that a child needs to feel safe without having to see somebody walking around with an assault rifle or walking around with and handcuffing and arresting students for minor infractions that the school would normally you and used to say, okay, you're suspended, or okay, you're going to be have detention for. You got to allow the school system to discipline the student just like a parent would discipline a child at home. Why is it that more school systems, and this is the easiest resolve to this, why is it that just like the security teams that a church will have within its own membership, can not a school system have teachers that are armed? If that teacher, and the reason I'm saying that this way, because I believe that shooting happened in the playground. It's why you're not, they're only allowing a video from like 2 blocks away for media. And they're so far up in the air, but you can see that the police presence is focused on an area of the playground. And then he went and barricaded himself in the school. If a teacher or a security member of that or carrying a gun, a weapon, was outside with the children at that time, one shot. Maybe that teacher would be still alive. Maybe those 14 kids would still be alive. And again, I'm saying 14 because I do not know if I last checked about an hour ago, a little more than an hour ago now. Maybe 14 of the 14 kids and that one school teacher that got shot would still be alive today, tonight. But the very first thing everybody wants to say is, "Oh, you got to put up, metal detectors, and you got to put up, you got to have the police in the schools," and it's not working, folks. It's not working. It needs to start working in a different way. Right now, you have a whole entire elementary school that ended their school year, because their school year is going to end on Thursday, the 26th. Right now, you have a whole entire elementary school that is ending their school year on a down note, on a super negative moment and emotion. That school's not going to open up again this year. That school's closed till the beginning of next year. The only thing that's going to possibly be happening is if a child's starting to show any sort of depression and anxiety or PTSD, type of symptoms, that they're gonna be able to call the school up and say, "Hey, my kid needs counseling because of what happened at the school." Those children need to walk back into that school building and say and realize and understand that it's safe, but they're not gonna have that. Thank you, Lisa, for that update. It's up to 18 children and 3 adults. Is that including the grandma and the shooter? Or let's just say the suspected shooter? Absolutely, Lisa, that's first and foremost is, absolutely prayers and positive energy go out to every single family member who's never gonna be able to understand and comprehend why they're burying a child or a loved one because of somebody's idiotic moment. Yes, cosplay, I understand policies are tricky, but I think this is something that has to come from the top down. Not given an opportunity to have a local school system find loopholes or this, that, or the other. And this is where it's going to get a little funny, guys. And I apologize. I was an education major in college, and I sat there and I looked at what was going on with the teachers union and the board what is it um, schools now fall into a cabinet member's position under the president. And I can't remember the exact cabinet member, what his title is, but this is where it needs to come from. It needs to come from the top down. That this is to happen. And then every single school system, because it would have implications on funding if they did not do this, would find the right way to make it happen. Cosplay, I 100% agree, and that is on the forefront of what I'm thinking, what I believe needs to happen. No, you're fine, Cosplay. The tonight is a completely open. There is no agenda set by me, even though I'm making a statement of this is what I believe and this is what I think. It doesn't mean that anybody has to agree with me. Lisa, exactly right. Anything can happen. And no, Lisa, this is exactly what tonight is about. Lisa, this is exactly what tonight is about. I know you weren't right into us when I started like 8:31 or whatever. Um, but this is exactly what tonight is about. I want to give everybody that place tonight that you can sound off. Nobody's gonna think anything twice about it. And if my being an open panel, draws in anybody from the outside that's not normal part of our group, the same respect and the same invite that they can join me up on live is going to be welcomed. I just think that tonight, this is exactly what we need. Tonight is this is exactly what we need to have, and it is maybe because I've sat there and I've got my head wrapped around it, where I've said, it's where I've sat there and thought about it and said, what is the next step? What is and I've sat there and listened to the senator from Texas who got after he was informed about this from the governor, um, that he was um, that he was on the Senate floor within just a couple hours after it happening, and saying and challenging the Republicans and Democrats to pass laws immediately, start putting bills together to take guns away from people. A senator from Texas. Yeah, I get that emotions are raw and justifiably raw. I just don't think the answer is taking away guns. Just don't think that's the answer. I think quite the opposite is the answer. I think what Tennessee did with churches is the answer. It's not putting security guards, police officers to sweep schools. What has that done? Has it really ever stopped a child from using or dealing drugs in school? Has it stopped any school shootings from any students in a school? Yes, I'm talking about high school level. No, it hasn't stopped them. Lisa, I'm just a little bit further to your south. I live in the Kingsport area. And I remember Virginia Tech, and I remember what happened that when that happened. I remember Sandy Hook, and history tells us about 1966, where the what was it? I don't remember the college in Texas, but a guy climbed the bell tower and started shooting from the bell tower. And I just don't think that taking away guns or putting metal detectors or putting um, um, different I don't think that's the answer. I don't think that's the preventive answer, because this didn't happen in the school fully. And yes, if you haven't noticed, I do have a special guest with me.
Hello.
Carrie asked that she would be able to join us tonight up on live.
Can you hear me?
I hear you perfectly.
Awesome.
So Terry, what do you think about my idea of taking away guns, banning guns isn't the answer, but doing what Tennessee did with school teachers is the answer.
Well, I remember when I was in high school, which was moons ago, and they were already discussing putting up metal detectors at that time. I don't, the teachers, honestly, I do feel that they need to have some type of protection for especially the children. I I don't feel like banning guns will solve any issue whatsoever. They have to teach our children, like back when we were raised. I know everybody's not raised the same, but if you raise a child and teach them, if you have weapons, any type of weapon, doesn't matter if it's even a pair of scissors, you have to teach them what that weapon is for, what it's used for, and what it's not used for. That's the way I was raised.
Hmm.
You know, we had you. My father, even when we went on vacation, my father had a weapons carry permit, and he always took a pistol with us in case anything ever happened on the road. He always kept it where the gear shift was at. We knew not to touch that. We knew exactly what it was for. You have to instill what the purpose of it is. You can't just, and you can't just leave things laying around. But it's getting so bad that something extreme needs to be done because it's not being taught anywhere to anybody anymore. It's like nobody cares anymore. They just, you know, it happened. Well, we need to do something about it. And then it just goes on until something worse happens.
That's very true. That's very true. You know, it's a week and a half, almost a week and a half ago that the tragedy in Buffalo happened. And this was either the 199th or 200th mass shooting so far this year that's happened in the United States.
And we're not even halfway through the year. I mean, that's sad.
That is sad. You know, and I'm not trying to belittle any bit about, this is as much of a tragedy as of any other mass shooting that's happened so far this year. It's it's a horrible thing. It really is. The root of it almost always is somebody had mental health issues of some sort and decided that they were going to take action X and use it to be a catalyst to go and destroy people's lives, and then turn around and I don't know what the percentages of cases. I'm not going to try to figure that out, but in some of the cases, they turn around and they make themselves unalive, which leaves even less answers when people need answers.
Yes, and also it's what I call nobody can tell what a person's thinking. You're not in that person's head. You're not in that person's body. The way I see that is you if you're around them, you know them, you get to know them um as a parent. I could tell you I could tell you how my daughter would react to something, but that doesn't mean that that's exactly 110% the way she's going to act. You can change. She could change her mind at the last moment, but I know how she is. You, I'm going a roundabout way to explain what I'm trying to say.
No, no, no. Take your time. I'm
You, if you don't watch signs and pay attention, you miss them all until it's too late. Then you can still see all the signs and it be too late. There's always going to be a question of why, the inevitable question of why. The only person, honestly, or actually two people that could fully answer that would be the person that did it and God. I mean, honestly, a person could talk to you about it who has lived with that person or knows that person. But it, touching on the mental health, my issue with that is a lot of children, adults, anybody, when a person shows signs of it, people make excuses. There's not consequences or responsibilities for the actions that person does. And therefore, it just escalates. And then something terrible happens. And then they're like, well, why didn't I see that? Why didn't I do that something before? Well, I didn't think that they would do that. I was always raised you never underestimate anybody. You don't judge nobody and you don't assume nothing about anybody, but you never underestimate anybody. So I've been in a few situations. And if I get a hinkling that something could happen, I don't assume it's going to happen. I don't act like it's going to happen. I go ahead and prepare just in case. Not everybody does that. Not everybody has to do that. But we can't stop sweeping certain things underneath the rug. And especially when it comes to children's mental health, they have to be addressed. I mean, I've seen so many children who act out and they do things and it's swept underneath the rug. And the next thing you know, they're going to juvie. Well, if that child got some type of punishment, such as, you know, make them get out here and do some community service, make them, you know, get out here and do some extreme work, you know, something to that effect. Maybe that would help just a tad bit. I mean, it's not going to cure everything, but we've got to start making excuses, and even for adults, if that makes any sense at all.
No, it makes perfect sense. My high school, the high school I went to, and even the college I went to, we had to do X amount of time. On high school was really only one day, a couple days when you were a senior, um, where we had to do community service, and it was a senior project. It really was. We went and did environmental cleanup of a park and lake area that was nearby. And forgive me for laughing because it's a funny long story. There was a female that was in my senior class that was that had gone and done this, and it landed up being an actual news story because the area around the lake is actually was quite swampy, and she stepped into an area that was soft and got stuck knee deep in muck that was around the lake. And they actually had to have the fire department to come out and rescue her from sinking further into the lake. But that's not the point. Um, I just that just popped in my head, random thought moment. Um, you know, so when we were seniors in high school, when I was a senior in high school, we had the sense of, you know, this community gave you an education. This community gave you a step in towards your adulthood. You have the responsibility to give back to it, and that was the lesson that you truly took out of it. Was, you know, you belong to this. Not only to you're part of this town, but you belong to the town because they gave you that they gave you that base, that foundation. The old saying that um, a, it takes a community to raise a child. I don't think that's exactly the phrase, but it takes a community to raise a child. You know, it's not just one person. It's not just one thing.
Right. And it's like, we were raised that you treat people with respect, you help when you can. You I mean, you don't take no crap neither, but you don't beat somebody to a pulp or go out here and harm them like this.
Hmm.
You stand your ground, you stand up for yourself, and you protect others. But you don't maliciously just go out and do things.
Exactly. The consequences are just extreme when you do so,
Right.
because they're not only destroying your future, your own life, but you're not just destroying the victim's life, interrupting the victim, but you're also interrupting the family of that victim's life. It has ripple effects.
Yes.
I was watching, you're in my Discord. One of the, I believe I posted it in there that um, it was on WFLA. A reporter was pulling up to the scene after several hours after the events happened, and he parked in front of somebody's house, and that the person came out on their porch and said, "I was like, hey, can I help you?" And the reporter said, "Hey, I'm from such and such channel. Do you mind if I park here?" And the neighbor's house that he parked in front of was that's fine, but please understand, the teacher that met her demise was my niece.
Mm.
It's like it's not just the immediate family that you destroyed, that he destroyed today,
Right.
but it has ripple effects that go way beyond.
I'm 48. I'm not ashamed to admit it. And every I'm gonna say most decisions that I still make, I think about what effect it's going to have, even to my daughter to this day. She's 28, but I still think about that. Yes, I'm old enough to make my own decisions. I can do whatever I want. But how is it going to affect her? You know, if I go out and, which I don't do much, but if I do, you know, certain things that you do in life, no matter if you're an adult or not, it can affect other people. I still think about that before I decide to do something. Well, how's it going to affect this person? How's it going to affect that person? I mean, even if I'm parking, sometimes I'll be like, I want to park really close. Well, maybe I need to not. Maybe somebody else might need that parking place that can't walk so great. If I park there, they might have to walk further and they could get hit. Anything could happen. I mean, just something even simple as that. I know not a lot of people think of that,
No.
but they should sometimes, because certain things have serious consequences. I mean, serious consequences.
100%. 100%.
And especially when you are dealing with children. If you're dealing with anything like that, even if you go into a rampage, you know, how's it going to affect the people around you? And that's where people just, they don't care anymore. When did that start happening? It's like we just woke up one day and it got through out the window.
It's been creeping up for quite a while. Where, and I'm going to partially blame it on the internet.
I have to agree with you on that too. Partially, yes. Yes.
Partially.
Yes.
We don't define the sense of who is our community as being the people that are on the say 3 square blocks around us any longer. We define community as being those we have commonality with, no matter where they are in the world. And we don't have that. We don't have that.
He'll come back. Oops, sorry, my fur baby took off.
Oh, okay.
He'll come back.
Okay. You don't have that. You don't have that sense of community as being that 3 square blocks around you any longer. It's who you agree with or who you closely identify with, have a common trait with, and it doesn't matter where on the world they live now.
Yeah, and it's a lot of things combined. I think each little part has its little piece to play in it, and like I said, it just all comes down to which decision you make and what do you consider when you make it. And if you don't think of others in certain situations, and you just base it on solely yourself, this is what happens. Or even, I mean, even little bitty things can happen. I mean, I have seen people act just fine, and then all of a sudden change the next day.
Absolutely. And that's a mental health thing.
Right.
I know for myself, there are some days where I just feel like I got kicked in the teeth from the start of the day. And it's a struggle to get through the day for myself. And then there's days where I feel like it's 100% nothing wrong. Nothing could go wrong that day. Everything is going to be perfectly fine. That is my brand, or whatever you want to call it, the mental health issues that I personally have. That's what I deal with. No, I'm not going to go and go and do what this guy did or do what another person did. Where they went and did a mass event, mass spree, whatever. That's just not within my capability. It's just that's an easy sign that somebody has something. That's an easy tell that somebody has something going on a deeper level.
Oh yeah, I've been known to. I call it. I cocoon myself, lock myself in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I get in certain moods, I know it's best that I just stay inside.
Oh yeah.
Not that I'm not going to hurt nobody, but I don't even want to hurt nobody's feelings.
Right, exactly.
So I'm like, I will just stay in today.
Yep. Used to be a T-shirt made years ago, and it was just a graphic T-shirt. And I'm not sure if it still kicks around or not, but it basically was saying, today was the day I decided just to pull the covers over. Oh no, it's a Garfield cartoon. That's what it is. And he just was like, no, today's just the day that I pull the covers over my head and just go back to sleep. It's just not the outcome is not worth the what I'm imagining could happen today. That's the basic sentiment of what the cartoon was about, or that particular one, was about. It's just like, nope, just pull the covers over my head and just say, nope, not today. Lisa, I think I've seen that. News source I've been going to is heavy.com. And I think they actually have that on there. And it's an Instagram page where they show, I don't know what kind of rifles they are, but it's a couple of rifles that they have, believe he used.
Was that a Facebook post?
Instagram
post.
I'll put the link to the page in Discord. I'm not putting it out here on YouTube because I'm not promoting pictures of this person being spread and the name of the person being spread. I just it just to me it's tasteless to go and tasteless to go ahead and show the person when the focus should be on the victims and the victims' families.
Right.
But if you take a quick look in Discord, that's the web page, and you scroll down a little bit. There's a picture of Instagram of a couple of weapons.
Hold on, just 1 second.
Sure. It's okay, cosplay. We're just going through this and talking about it. Like I said, this was going to be an open panel tonight, and we're just going to talk about it and give people a chance to, whoever does join us tonight, and to talk about it and say what they think. And There is no set agenda for tonight. Lisa, did you look it up on heavy.com? Okay. I'm sure Carrie will be back in a moment. Yeah. I in any type of thing. Unfortunately, with Summer Wells, you have to include the parents because of their behavior. Their very suspicious behavior. And the fact that we don't know the answer of who did it, it is fair game to mention them. And Carrie's back. I think she's back. Carrie, you might be muted. Yeah, I don't think focusing on in most cases, if I go and talk with John Q on his channel about Buffalo, New York, then yes, you do have to talk about the suspected shooter. Unfortunately, because everything that he did and all of that his manifesto that he wrote, which I've read twice now, it's just that disturbingly deep that you have to read it twice um, if you do land up seeing it. It just the depth of that guy. Oof. Anyway, oh, cosplay. I only put that up in Discord because Carrie was going to join, but if you want to or Lisa wants to, I'll be more than happy to drop it right now for you guys. Bear with me just a second here. Apparently, yep, that's I figured as much, Carrie. It's fine. There, I went ahead and pinned it. That way, nobody, if anybody wants to join, they there it is. But Gary, if you get to be stable again and you want to jump back in, there's the link for you as well. Originally tonight, I did. Cosplay, it's cool. It's cool. I know you've been holding back and not joining, but that's fine. I like I said, I had no agenda tonight. we're and in fact, my agenda was originally we were going to talk about Summer Wells. But when I woke up, I long story short, I didn't sleep last night. I had a rather um, overstressed myself, and one of those it played with my mental health moment, and I landed up staying up all night. And but anyway, the you know, let's take a look at this. This is from the University or Washington.edu. It's Washington.edu. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because you have multiple families and teachers that were in that school and students that were in that school that are now going to have to go through the 5 stages of grief. And this is why I was saying that the school needs to open, even if it's for one day next week, half a day, for the students to walk in there, have a memorial service, a celebration, whatever you want to call it. However you need to call it to phrase it for little kids. And it's school year celebration, you know, and this is when the parents are invited in as well. And you explain to them that grief counseling is available because these students now have to go through either whether they were directly a part of or they're not, but they now have to go through these 5 stages of grieving. Right now, everybody is in a stage of denial. There's nobody whatsoever that could possibly be in anything but denial right now. And from there, a person goes and it starts to have issues with anger. And these are all the different stages or items that people would display. Definitely hope that this does not happen to any of the adults. Right here. This is really when, if you look at what everything is saying, this is when you'll start to see signs of PTSD, the anger stage. Yeah, the cynicism, the sarcasm, the irritability, the being aggressive or passive aggressive. And then we have the bargaining stage. And I'm not saying that every single person goes through these stages the same. But this is the typical order and typical stages that people do go through. Then we have the last two stages, which is depression and acceptance. I know these are only kids through ages 2 through 4 years, the second through fourth grade, 7 to 10 years old typically, and most of them that are not going to understand, and some of them it's going to have to be up to the parents, and whether or not they're old enough, mature enough, and I don't, not just emotionally, I mean mentally, to be able to handle going to a classmate's funeral. But this is why I say next week, and where I was saying the beginning of the stream, that their school year was going to end on Thursday. That's completely gone. That school's not going to reopen till after that, if at the earliest, next school year. But even if it was for a half a day for an assembly and for conferences with the children and the students, where they got to sit down with psychologists and in a classroom setting, whether they have 3 or 4 teams or whatever, how many classes there are for each grade, and they go to the classes and they sit there and they talk with them for just in a group setting. Because a good psychologist or a therapist in a group setting can pinpoint if somebody needs more help. I know this isn't the easiest stream for people to sit there and listen and talk about. And I know that I'm trying to keep very logical. About what has to happen next and what has to happen tonight. The reason I'm doing that, though, is because the reason I'm saying that is because it's a matter of there is no right or wrong in how anybody feels about this. I think the only right thing to do tonight, do you have a child or a grandchild, is to calm and to make sure they know that you love them, or give them an extra long hug tonight. Thank you, Carrie. In cosplay, I did see where you said hit that the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell. Thank you very much. Lisa, are you still with us? I know you don't want to come up on panel or anything like that. It's just, are you still with us? Hello, cosplay.
Can you hear me?
I hear you perfectly.
So there's no echo or nothing. You know, I don't jump on panels very much. So
No, you're good. You're good.
So I missed everything you just talked about for the past 5 minutes because I was trying to work it all out to be able to jump on panel.
I was actually talking about the 5 stages of grief,
Oh, okay.
and where this saying why it's so important for the children to be able to return to that school, even if it's just for a half day next week.
I agree. That I think that's very huge, especially to have some type of community counselors, crisis response team come out and be at the school to be able to offer any type of services would be the
Yep.
best optimal situation.
Yep. And it's not even a day where you go to a classroom because you're not going to have that one teacher there. It's everybody goes to an assembly. Parents are invited and encouraged to come in and take part in it because it's not just for the students.
No, it's for the community because everybody in the community is going to be affected and going to grieve over this. And um, definitely needs to be something set up. Hopefully, they will do that. And I'm sure that they probably will.
Oh, I'm sure they will. I'm 100% sure they will. But I think that the huge part of it, even if they have to have it at the Civic Center, which I believe is like only a quarter mile away, because there was approximately 550 students and faculty, I believe. Sorry, I was having difficulty saying that word.
I understand.
It may need to be happening at the Civic Center, but the children must go to that school, go walk around that school, talk to their classmates, get something together real quick. And trust me, our school system can do it. Get something together real quick where the last memory that those kids have of that school are something they were laughing, they were excited to be a part of, they were enjoying their time, and not what happened today.
I think you're right. I think there needs to be another sense of community that's brought in because theirs are devastated right now. So they definitely don't need to go home and be isolated away from other people and have to grieve alone. They need this sense of community. I think that's very important.
Yeah. And I think like a huge part of that is, like I said, going to that school, having at least a half a day, even if you do have like a half day where you have an assembly and then you have, the parents are off at the Civic Center They're doing things that the parents need to do to help them, equip them to deal with this going forward with a child. And then um, the students be brought over. The parents go pick up the students, and they all go to the civic center. And this is where they're Lisa, I understand that. I understand what you're saying, but my thought is like I said, they need to have a positive memory.
Yeah,
They
not
don't need
going.
a negative memory hanging over them all summer, then have that all that anxiety and fear, and if this is going to happen again.
The fear of walking back into that classroom if you don't go back in there and you sit on it the whole summer is tragic, in my opinion. It's not.
Exactly.
It's not healthy.
Exactly. That's exactly where I was going. You have, yes, fourth graders are going to go on to another school because the school is only for second through fourth grade. But even then, they need to have that reassurance that walking into a classroom, yeah, maybe not that exact classroom that those students were from. Thank you, Carrie, for the update. The last update was 18 children and 2 students. I'm sorry, 18 children and 2 adults. But you still, they don't need to have that lasting memory to fester in their mind, because that's not going to allow them. If it is that last memory is that they went to school and it got interrupted, and that was the end of the school year. They don't need that to be the last thing in their memory, because that's only going to fester and give breathing room to that PTSD, to not allow them to go through the 5 stages of grieving. This is why I'm saying maybe, half of a day where the children are in school, and it doesn't have to be anything but an assembly for a couple hours. The parents are over in the civic center getting equipped that they will be able to handle the child's emotional needs by meeting with psychologists. And then whether or not, you have some sort of ceremony at the school for the kids, and then you take the kids, the parents all go over and pick up the kids, and everybody goes over to the civic center for a fun day for the rest of the day that they have planned over the civic center for just those students of that school.
I agree.
I think that would be.
With you.
I think that would be astronomically important to that to it, to help them out.
I 100% agree. Because today their world stopped in a sense.
Oh yeah.
And back in the day when I was in school, in graduate school and undergrad, like all my internships I did was with like crisis response teams and crisis stabilization units and stuff like that. So I know there's got to be multiple people around that can come in and help, because they're going to need it. And not just the kids, the parents too. Everybody in the community, because I mean, as a parent, a lot of times it is the hardest thing is watching your child go through something and not be able to do something about it or fix it, or and they need those tools in their toolbox, to be able to help those kids.
Absolutely.
I cannot see chat, by the way, so I have no idea what anybody's saying. Just so
Oh, just pay. Yeah, everything's fine. I just keep flashing comments up on the screen so you can see them. If it's not showing up to you,
I do see that now. So thank you for pointing that out, because
sure.
No telling what my signal is. We've had rain and stuff today, so I have no idea how good my signal is. I'm trying to get to a good area so I'm not glitching out.
Absolutely. I know. I understand. But Carrie's right. The last days of school is supposed to be fun.
Yep.
And the reason I go back to what my high school did when I was a senior. The last day of high school was senior day. We actually were we reported to school in the morning, and the way they scheduled it is that the last day of school was the seniors gym classes. So our final exams, last 4 days were final exams, and um, the very last day was your gym classes, and it wasn't that you did anything, but it was a senior fun day where we had a cookout outside. We had a field day out in on the football field, or we had things like we got our yearbooks, our caps, and our gowns for graduation that night. We had got that kind of thing, that kind of stuff. And that way, when we went to go to graduation that evening, we had everything. We had our caps and our gowns. We had our the honor roll. The honoree students had their sashes. Um, so yeah, we that's the kind of thing that we did on the last day. We had our yearbooks where we all passed around yearbooks and had other classmates sign them and things like that. But we had a cookout and we were outside of the football field and having a great old time, throwing frisbees around,
They used
just
to call it project graduation.
so see, project graduation, that was
They
a
used to call it
lock-in.
project graduation back in the day.
Project graduation, that was a lock-in where you were locked into the YMCA, and you were allowed to go swimming and watch movies and just hang out, but you were up all night after graduation.
Ah, I went to a private school, so I didn't have any of that. None of that. But I knew of the rest. Like everybody had project graduation, which was so huge, so huge. So maybe that entails something totally different. I do remember it being like a lock-in and stuff, though, from what I hear.
Well, yeah, my high school was not big in comparison to others. It was my graduating class was only 142 kids, and so it wasn't difficult to say to get the Y to agree to that. It just they worked with the school systems, and there was enough YMCA's around that you could have multiple graduations on the same night, but the school systems worked with them and staggered the graduations. That way, everyone can do their own project graduation and go to the YMCA to go swimming and have just a fun night, safe night where everybody's safe. You can go play basketball, go play, do whatever. The facilities were wide open to us.
And the point is to end on a happy note. You know
Exactly.
what I'm saying? It's to end on a happy note. And that's definitely something that should be done in this situation. The fear of walking back into the school, regardless of it, it's the same. It's going to affect a lot of people. And they hopefully they will succumb or take whatever, things that they do for them, because I think it's going to be very important. I can't imagine.
Let's see here. There's another thing I had pulled up because I actually thought my opinion about the guns in the schools and guns in general was not going to be a popular opinion tonight. And I just want to take a look at it. And please, in the chat room, please, guys, don't feel like you can't let us know what you're thinking. I'm watching the chat, so we're well aware of what you're saying. And the reason I'm bringing these things up is that I believe they are important to take a look at tonight, because the jumping to say guns should be banned, guns should be this, guns should be that, it's not a good argument tonight.
I agree. I have to jump in real quick, and I'm so glad you came back to this, because I have my little random opinions on things, and it shouldn't be that type of extreme thing. That it should not. And like, I have no idea what your political affiliation is. I don't really care. I like people for people. You know, I don't like it. That to me doesn't matter. But I do like. I don't like. There's no need to take away guns. And I have a kid that hunts. Um, I was married to his dad. His dad was a hunter, and he hunts, and he's only 15.
Mm-hmm.
And none of the rest of us are like hunters. Like, we're not. And I would hate for him to not be able to go hunt, but I think that jumping to things are so polarized now, and that's the thing that, like, if you realize things are on a spectrum, and there's got to be, when I said my open-ended thing about policies, honestly, the thing I was thinking about was mental health, and there's different policies that piggyback off of other policies, and there needs to be a lot of things that are changed within mental health, to be able to prepare better, or instead of so as much paperwork. That's all they do, is just paperwork, paperwork, paperwork. Like, there needs to be a better connection. I don't know if that's the only answer. No, because you have kids that can get them on the street. You know, you can get them from home. Like, it's like, if you want a gun, you can find a gun. The answer is not banning guns. That's just
Exactly.
not the answer, at all. But I do think there needs to be more, what's the word? More like police looking at the illegal gun trade and things, because that's going on in every demographic. I'm gonna tell you, that's going on in every demographic.
Oh, absolutely.
And like, there needs to be, when Tennessee was like, hey, everybody can carry, like, that was scary to me. It was scary to me, because you don't want to just give a gun to anybody. That's
Mm-hmm.
scary, but are they like, they're very prevalent. Like, they really are, and so I think that I just wish that things could not be so polarized, and see that there is some spectrum of things, that people fall in different places of those spectrums. But there needs to be, I don't know what the answer is. I have no clue. I have a brother that's an avid gun owner, and we're like total opposites. But we agree on things when it comes to guns. Oddly as that is, like, we do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gotten to the point, like, in my own city, in the past like 2 weeks, there's been shootings on main little, like, bypass areas, and they've been young kids. Like, there needs to be focus on trying to take away a lot of the illegal gun trade, that there needs to be a focus on that. And there also needs to be a focus on mental health, and how people prioritize, if that's a word. If it's not, I'm making it up. But I said, like, and when I say that, I mean having a usually you have to have a scale that you go by to be able to justify anything that you're saying. Well, that needs to be also revised, you know, and the people that are able to give somebody a mental diagnosis, there's flaws in that. There's people getting labeled with things that don't need to be labeled with things, and because you have to, it's paperwork. There's flaws in that. There's so many flaws, and people tend to find every flaw and take a loophole.
Exactly.
And that's what I meant by that. It was kind of open ending, but it actually dealt with mental health because I'm very passionate about that. And it hurt my heart today. Today hurt my heart so bad. And I talked to my kids about it.
Oh, it hurt. It hurt. I think everybody that ever had a child in school, or has a grandchild in school. You know, it hurt because everybody realized, like, this world is so crazy now that could happen to my child, my grandchild, on any given day. And this
it's
is where
real.
exactly.
It's real.
And this is where I was, you know, when I sat there and thought about, well, what was my opinion? What is my opinion on this? What do I think about these people? The senator that was running up on the Senate floor to make a statement of begging and pleading to get a bill on the floor like tonight. That's not his exact words, but that was his sentiment. The ban guns, you know, the ban weapons of the whatever type it was. But this website does it that I found does it from reading over it, does a good job of explaining or showing the amount of lives, let's say, that it has a weapon of this caliber has actually saved lives, and why it's important that the ban all guns is a bad idea, because there's the people that are they're legal registered owners, and there are weapons, and you're all going to have to forgive me for how I phrase this. It's not exactly the most eloquent way, but it's how they refer to it when you're on the street. Whether it be a pocket knife, a knife of some sort, or it's a gun. It's either does or does not have a name on it. Not that the person calls it a certain thing, but it does or does not have a name on it.
Do you mean like a serial number?
Nope.
Okay.
When a weapon has a name on it, it means that it has caused bloodshed.
Oh, okay.
And that name would be the victim of the bloodshed was caused to. So this website does a pretty good job of explaining why it's important not to jump to the nth degree that some people already are. And that is that the part that I highlighted right here, right up front. Guns are used to deter or thwart crime. This is estimated between 500,000 and 2.8 million times a year. But and it's more likely the probable is somewhere in the middle. So approximately 1.4 million times in a year, if a gun is in a person's possession, legally in a person's possession, for the purposes of defense, and used in the right manner, it saves a person's life.
Well, I think the thing you said right there that makes everything stand off is if it's used in the right manner. because I don't know what's been going on with people now compared to. I just feel like there's so much more. I don't know, extremeness. In either way, I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm saying in general. Like, I don't know. Like how they use it is very critical to.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly. You're exactly right.
You
I think you're having a little
know,
bit of an issue there. I think you were having a little bit of an issue there. You got a little tinny on
out
me.
there.
What were you just saying?
It's raining. I'm
No,
sorry.
you're fine.
I'm sorry. It's raining. I have no idea. Um, I think it was in regards to it does. It definitely depends on how somebody uses it, how they use a gun.
Hmm.
And there are people that use them the right way, and there are people that don't use them the right way. They're it's like their filter gets cloudy.
So here's the a little chart here, and I don't know if you can see this what it says underneath of it, but it's just this chart only using respondents who had previously said they had used their gun in self-defense situation. There was a survey sent to registered gun owners, and of those who responded, this is what they had. This is a pie chart of what they had said. Um, uh, um, so you have the person who said they had to use their weapon or display their weapon for defense purposes one time 44.1% of the time, and it goes up from there. I just that sometimes is all it takes is that one time, and then it gets put out there that oh, this person has it carries a weapon, whether it be CCW or they live in an open carry state. Majority of the people, only once, and if you include twice, which is another 32.7%, that would bring it up to over 75%, 76.8% to be exact, where a person only had to just display. It doesn't say shoot, it doesn't mean fire. It's just it does say use their handgun. And further down, there is another chart that says that some of these people only had to show that they had a gun. No shots
You
were
got real
fired
glitchy
in
for me. It could be me because it's
81.9%.
raining, but I
Sorry?
don't know if it was glitchy to anybody else. So I did pick up what you were saying, but I don't know if it was.
Yeah, I don't know if it's me or you, but one of us is fading out in and out here.
I cut my Wi-Fi off, so maybe that'll be better.
Okay. Um, the next chart is exactly what I was referring to. The majority, I mean, overwhelming majority, to the tune of 81.9% of the time, that people did not have to fire their weapon when in that situation where they had to use it for defense. Just verbally telling somebody that they had a gun on them, or that they were, or just showed them they had a gun, showed the gun, but not fired, was 81.9% of the time. And then it goes further into breakdowns of what kind of weapons and the number of attackers they were facing.
So send me that link later because that's an interesting link.
Yeah, I'm not going into every single chart, but I found it very interesting. Is those first two charts. Those first two charts where it was saying, that about it being used in self-defense. Lisa, I think that's a extremely important question. Bear with me just a second. I'm going to post this link in my Discord. That way it could be had later, or seen later. So, Lisa, my best answer to that would have to be situation I was in. I got married September 10th, 2001. And my ex-wife, my now ex-wife, had a daughter from a previous relationship. And we went out, me and my, after we had gotten married, we were going to go to actually be in New York City. Or at least that's what we had planned and talked about, was going to New York City. And my ex-wife had never seen like the Statue of Liberty, been to New York City, nothing, none of that. And obviously, a 5-year-old little girl, if her mom hasn't ever been there, she's never been there. So we were planning on just doing the tourist thing. Going, taking a ferry, going to see Statue of Liberty. And the little girl I was talking to was preschool aged, 4 years old. Carrie, I'm being asked to say, ask you to come back up because it would, you're being asked to come back up on panel. It's up to you though. So I believe the best policy in this is 100% honesty. Now, I am comparing this to being an event that we landed up in a war and it was a terroristic event. But let's be honest, no matter the scale of it, 9/11 to what happened today at a school, whether it's local or national, international, it's a terroristic event. And the only thing you can do is tell them the truth and reassure them that you love them. And this is why I was saying, you have to give them that extra long hug tonight. Maybe not having a bedtime and let them plan a camp out in the living room. Have a camp out in the living room tonight where everybody's sleeping in the same room. And just being there and reassuring them that you're always going to be there for them.
I agree. You're 100. You're 100 with this. Just throwing that out there.
Oh, thank you very much. Maybe that's the best idea. Not worry about the bedtime tonight. Have a movie and popcorn night tonight. Everybody bring a blanket to the living room. Stretch out on the floor. Pillows. The whole 9 yards so they're nice and comfortable and ready to go to sleep. And just have that camp out in the living room tonight. That way, if they have a bad dream about what they heard in the news, you're right there. They don't have to do anything but wake up, look, and you're right there. Whether or not they wake you up in the middle of the night and to say, I had a dream, that's the whole different story. But just the reassurance and comfort that you're right there and you're 100% honest with them. is the
Honesty
only
is
way
key.
you can go.
Honesty is key. Like, I have kids and I had to talk to them about it today. And the
Yep.
best thing you can do is be honest with them. Like, as much as you want to like blind your kids from like the terrible things that's going on, no, you also have to make them aware because it's real. It doesn't matter where you are, who you are, like it's real. And a little bit of knowledge and talk about and hugs and popcorn and movies, that matters. It
Mhm.
really does. And I appreciate like that. Like, that's how I talk to my kids about it. I just actually pretty much gave them the facts and they gave me their response and stuff. And they keep checking up on, kind of what's going on. But I want to keep them in the know about
And and
things.
your young ones are about the same age. Am I correct?
Yes. Yes. My youngest ones, yes, they are.
But Lisa, that is, and that comes from somebody that had to explain what happened on September 11th to a preschool kid. And what I did was tell her the truth. There are some people in the world that just do not like the United States. That we have freedoms, we have abilities to do things that the other countries cannot, and because of that, they do not like us. And their way they are showing the displaying that they don't like us is to do what they did today or back on September 11th, and that we have a very mighty and strong army and military that's going to take care of that. That she didn't have to worry about it. Is the way I explained it to her back then.
I was a senior in high school when September 11th happened. I remember it like it was yesterday. Like it was yesterday. It was the craziest thing I'd ever witnessed. Uh, at the end of the day, you got things happening in our own country. Like, there are just people that just hate. They find communities where they can feed off each other and hate. And you said the internet is like, it is, because you find these senses of communities with people that you don't know. Like as much as we talk and whatever, like you don't know people's life. And I'm the person that's too nice and I want to listen and think everybody's going to do the right thing and have to learn the hard way. People aren't going to do the right thing. And so the best thing to do is to be prepared. Like Carrie was saying earlier, what's up, Carrie?
Hey,
You gotta, my brain thinks of every situation, which is overwhelming and tiring, but it does. You got to be prepared for things. You got to
Mm-hmm.
talk to them, and honesty is the best way to do that.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. This is one of those, like I said, at least I don't know what time zone you're in, but I know, in the East Coast, it's 10 o'clock at night. And, but you throw a movie on that they like that, would actually like throw a movie on that's very soothing and relaxing to them. And not something like where they're all getting hyper and think this or that. And just let them stretch out and with their blankets and the pillows and like I said, have popcorn, have a movie, even 10 o'clock at night. It's well worth their mental health, even though come tomorrow they're going to be grumpy and tired, probably, possibly. It's worth it.
that's what I call quality time.
Yep, exactly.
And it matters a whole lot. Whether you think it don't, to them it does.
Yeah.
I think these kids go through enough, especially in the past like 4 or 5 years, like the the craziness of the COVID epidemic and like being out of school, in school, and lockdown and all those things. Like, they've been through so much. And the saddest thing to me is that when I was talking to my kids, I was like, it was another school shooting. They were like, where? Because there's been so many of them. Like, why? Like, why? I can't fathom who thinks it's a cool idea to go shoot up a bunch. Like, why? Like, if it's that extreme, where, was, where was everybody to not notice that, you know? At the same time, it can be somebody that's low key that don't ever talk and isolates themselves, you know?
Mhm.
Um, and that's why
Well,
my
that's
thing was to tell them point blank about, hey, so that you know, they're asking where, and they talk to me like, I just don't understand why somebody thinks it's okay to take a human life. Like, I don't.
that's the thing about a lone wolf event, and that's what this is. It's a lone wolf event. They have just the one actor, one person that did this. You know, and this is what I was saying. It's still an act of terrorism, no matter the level of it being, you know, the where it being the elementary school or it
I
being the
agree with that.
national level. It's still an act of terrorism.
I agree with that. And that's huge that you say that, because that's real, because terrorism can happen within our own country, because there's so many people that are just, they just hate, or they just, that, like, it's everywhere. And I just want my kids to be aware of it, that it's
Mhm.
there. You know,
Yep.
especially being a blended family. You know, my husband is a black man, I'm a white man. Like, we're raising a blended family in the South. You know,
Oh boy.
you got to be aware of those things. You know, you do. Um,
Exactly.
so best
So
thing I can do is talk to them.
right, you know, and exactly, it's you have to have that uncomfortable, awkward conversation where I'm the adult and I need you to listen. But you make the statement of, you know, this is a a bad event that happened, and unfortunately, it's because somebody was sick, more than likely. Um, and unfortunately, we won't know until they do a forensic psychology exam, which is the a trained psychologist like the FBI and things like that. They were mentioning on the news coverage that they're going to have to do data dumps, collecting information from this person's phone, a computer, the social media sites that they visit, find out what their influences are, and to understand what was the catalyst. And that's
You
what
remember
a
back in the
forensic
day? You remember back in the
that's what a
day they used to
forensic.
say it was music? They used to say it was music back in like the early 90s. But
Oh
you're
yeah.
exactly right. Anybody that's going to go shoot up elementary kids at a school definitely has got issues. It's just, where was everybody? Where was the sense of community that could see this, that could try to help? You know, it breaks my
Well,
heart. It,
that's part of the forensic psychology exam that they're going to do. Is they're going to be able to examine that information. Was he in school? Did he just get kicked out of school? Did he get, you know, did he graduate school from high school? He's 18 years old, you know. Um,
yeah.
was he living with his grandmother that there's a generational, you know, misunderstanding or what that, you know, she's the age she was, and was there's something that, and I'm not blaming the grandma, don't think I'm blaming grandmom at all, but was there some sort of sign that they didn't teach parents to look for when she was raising her children, that her grandchild was displaying, and she would not have known to look for it, so corrective action could be taken. um Lisa,
I
to go back to your question of she's being or your statement being a fourth grader and 10 years old. The biggest thing The biggest thing, though, you need to wait for is her to ask one question. And this one question will tell you that she's really ready to listen and understand. And that's why. Until she's asking why did this happen? She's not ready to talk. She's not ready to listen. So you didn't need to tell her, but also to go like into length about it. You need her to be asking why.
I agree. I agree with that too.
Yes. And that forms the open line of communication. If you have that open line of communication, then they're going to always feel they can come to you and ask you what they need to ask you. Then
Mm-hmm.
That hopefully most of the time, will keep them from wanting to go somewhere else and find that answer, and having the bad luck of getting the incorrect answer and being led astray. Because an open line of communication, they feel safe, they feel comfortable, they can ask you anything. And I mean, still, there are going to be some things that they don't, but a
And
lot
it's okay. And it's okay if they don't understand.
right,
It's only going to bridge that communication and invite her to ask more questions so she can understand.
right.
Y'all are dropping real hardcore knowledge on people if people listen. Right here, right now, like that's so 100 what you're saying, Carrie. Like you got to keep those open lines of communication. You do, that those are so important. Having connections. So, I wish somebody would go clip what you just said, Carrie,
Yeah.
because everybody needs to hear that and have a reminder because that's real. And open communication is very important.
I firmly believe in that. I mean, I just I feel so strongly about that because if you have that, I mean, growing up, there were certain things we asked and certain things we just didn't talk about. And I always swore, if I had children, I would always have an open line of communication. Ask me anything. Doesn't matter what it is, you ask me. Feel comfortable enough to ask me. We'll about it. We'll discuss it. You're not going to get in trouble, no matter what it is. And I did have that open line, and I still have that open line of communication. And knock on wood, it's worked.
I feel like that's key, Carrie. I feel like that's so key. That's something I also try to do with my kids. And it means something to you when they come to you and ask and want to talk to you about something. Just, like really want to talk about something because they're being open. Like I like that. I love it so much and that's what I'm doing. And it's working.
And I feel too sometimes, if they feel like they can't, and then they do go ask somebody else, it make them question what that person told them, and then they come back and they ask you. It kind of helps. I feel also give them a little protection, you know, and question if somebody gives them an answer, and it could be the wrong answer, might be the right answer, but they would kind of question it if it was the wrong answer, and they feel they're comfortable enough, they got that open line of communication with you, they'll come back to you and ask you about it before they act on it, or before they totally go ahead and agree and believe in it and act on what that person told them. I mean, yeah, I just open communication.
I
100%.
agree. 100%. I'm right there behind you.
Oh, trust me, I'm right there with both of you. So, you know, it just,
And I always say, I'm not always right. I'm hardly ever right. If I don't know it, we'll find it together.
Gary, you're more right than anything else. So,
Hey, what
um,
you said, I'm the one. I'm like, I am not always right, but this is what I think. We'll work on it together. So I 100% agree with that too.
If I'm wrong, I'll admit it. If I'm right, kudos. If
Yep.
we know, we'll fight it together.
right, exactly. But Lisa, we're here for you. If you need anything, please reach out to us. I don't hide my email address.
I can't drop it in chat because I'm on
No,
panel.
no, you're fine. You're fine. I was reading what Lisa was saying. I don't 100% agree with you on Lisa, because I wish they didn't. Because I was saying this about we file crimes in this channel. So I was saying this about the little girl. Carrie, you had sent me a clip of her just like my last live where they were searching the woods.
Let's see. Wait a minute.
Harmony Montgomery.
Harmony. Oh yeah.
It takes me a moment sometimes with names, folks. I am very sorry. Where the Harmony Montgomery was, they were searching the woods and trying to put answers together about what happened. No matter who it is, I hope they find not only her, but they find out who did what they did to her. Because even if that little girl or any of the other cases that we follow or have been following, the child met their demise of illegal or mysterious circumstances. Having the person and having a trial, whether it's a plea deal or not, and within the plea deal, they have to get up and recount what happened. The family does get a sense of closure that the person that did this meets legal consequences, whether it be lifetime in jail or they get the injection or whatever that state, whatever Texas uses for its penalty. The family still get a sense of closure. And for the families to move forward, not that they would ever really get to move forward, because it's not natural that you have to bury a child. Not natural unless there's an illness, a cancer, or some other disease that happens. A disease happening you can understand, but a demise by this, it's kind of by the hand of this person, you can't understand, because there is no closure. There is no statement of why he did this, why that this child was a victim. But you have families now that tonight, today, and tomorrow have all been having to plan and are all going to have to plan a funeral for a child.
As a parent, that should be your biggest fear. Like for me, that's my biggest fear. Like for whatever reason, like that terrifies me being a parent, is to lose, whether it be some freak accident. Like I'm so overbearing and trying to watch and try to maintain and balance all my kids. Like that to me is the most terrifying thing. And it is heartbreaking to think that some people don't care about that. Some people don't care. Like they don't, for whatever reason, they don't. And it just breaks my heart.
Yeah. Lisa, please do not feel sorry. You're exactly where you need to be tonight. You are exactly where you need to be tonight. There's no feeling sorry about being here tonight. You have to do what's good for you, for your mental health, for you to grasp, get a grip on this and what happened, and be there in the best state of mind that you can possibly be for your child. So if I only reach one person, and that be you, and why I was meant to have this live tonight, then this was an extremely successful live.
Beautifully said, RJ.
Absolutely.
Because that's real.
So please don't feel that that you shouldn't be here, because it doesn't matter to me if I reach one person or 1,000 people in one night. Yes, I do want to see my channel grow, and I do want to see it, reach more people. But if tonight is meant to be something for you, especially for you, then I'm happy that we're having tonight.
And you, Lisa, you could have went anywhere, but you come here because here, I mean, like you can say anything, be you, express, get those emotions out. We have to express our emotions. We can't keep them bottled up. If we keep them bottled up and they do come out all at one time like that, we could do something bad. I mean, that's why we come together and we talk. We talk it out. We do this. This is what we're here for.
It's finding a sense of community. Because if
Yeah.
you keep pushing things down, it's like a balloon. The more you push down on one part and put pressure on it, it's going to pop. So having a sense of community is very, very critical in mental health. And that is one good thing the internet does, but it's also does the opposite. So you're good. You're good. I can't see nothing that you're saying, and I keep not looking at my phone, and I can't see anything. So I apologize, Lisa, that I'm not responding because I'm on my phone. I'm not on the computer. So I apologize for that.
Oh, I apologize, because I keep just clicking on it and just to show it, and I don't think about it. But I am kind of recapping it at the same time with the person says, "Hello, Charlie K. Thank you for coming out tonight. I know you're late, and that's fine. Just let you know, we're talking about we're having open panel tonight, and we're talking about primarily what happened today in Texas at the school. And it's just a honest and open panel discussion. That I personally think needs to be had tonight, in a conversation that needs to be happening tonight, or what the conversation is that needs to be happening tonight. Thank you, Charlie. I appreciate you hitting that like button.
Definitely make sure you hit the like button and the notification bell so that you get alerted. By the way, just throwing that out there if anybody's listening.
And if you really, really like it, subscribe.
Yes, yes. I've really enjoyed myself tonight. Thank you, Carrie, for coming back up because you have a beautiful train of thought. So do you, RJ. And we're able to have this train of thought, and it's not so picky on, ooh, what you think. It's just it's a good community, and so welcome everybody.
Charlie, absolutely. It is absolutely heartbreaking. And if you saw my description of tonight, I did post on there that we could talk about Summer Wells or Michael Vaughn as well. But I really felt that tonight was to be focused on what happened in the elementary school in Texas. I know it's Robb Elementary, but I forget the town it was in. Charlie Caseberg giving you, Carrie, a compliment there.
Thank you, Charlie. I got my iPad going too. I'm trying to book.
Oh, okay. You're pulling a me. You're basically pulling a me where I have my tablet up and it has the live stream on it. But I also have StreamYard up just in case something goes funky with StreamYard with the chat, because just like anything, it can get glitchy.
Well, I keep forgetting that. Like, I got the iPad going so like I can watch the chat, but then I'm like, I forget I can address them because I'm on a panel.
Right.
I'm learning.
Yeah, y'all help me out because I can do none of the above.
No. You two have done like unshelled me because I was not voice clipping. I wasn't going up on panels. And within a week, y'all done got me doing both.
We broke you.
Y'all broke me.
I ain't been on panel but like 3 times. You went up there today and I was like, okay, I gotta do this. I gotta do this.
Well,
but I have so much to say. And RJ, I respect you so much because I have known you virtually since like August, September. Like it's been a long time.
It was July. It
could have been July. Yeah, like it was way back.
Yeah, it was basically within a couple weeks after Summer Wells had gone missing.
Which is crazy because I never was a YouTube person. I was a Facebook Live type of person. And I was in a shell. It took me so long to ever even comment on people's stuff. Like, I still don't. I'm still nervous about that. Like, let me be in my little shell. But at the same time, the first time I went on panel ever in life, I was with you. We were together, RJ.
We were.
And I have much respect. We can agree and disagree, and it's never an issue. It's not like about anything, So I give you mad props. And then now I found Carrie, and I just love her. I just love her so much.
Y'all don't know how much y'all have helped me. I mean, just
well, that's a thing, especially with about agreeing and disagreeing. It's not so much that we agree or disagree. It's that we can effectively communicate what our opinion is. And because that we can do so, we can respect the other part, the opposing point of view or opinion.
What you just said times 1,000. That's so important. And I thank you for that. Because that's beautifully, like, I just wish everybody could do that. I don't understand why people can't do this. Why people can't. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Well, you're both in my Discord. And what did I say? I said that I think that the opinion that I'm going to have tonight, and I didn't tell you what my opinion was, but I think the opinion I'm going to have tonight may not be a popular popular opinion. And I'm impressed that I was wrong. But I was giving you guys a heads up because you both are like instrumental to my channel. But I wanted to give you guys a heads up ahead of time, just in case it was causing problems in the chat room, or let it might be controversial, or considered controversial if other people hear or see it, that people may not react to this well. But I'm just that honest about it.
You're
You know,
passionate about
honesty
it.
is always the best policy.
Yes, what you said, Carrie, for the people in the back.
And Lisa, you're welcome. You're 1,000 times welcome. Let me actually do this because I meant to do this before. Yes, I do have the link pinned. If anybody else does want to join us, you're welcome to. Lisa, if off air, if you have any other questions, Charlie, this is the email for this channel as well. But Lisa, if you have any questions or want to write any comments, or if you're struggling, I'm not sure if you're a single mom or what the circumstances is, but if you need somebody to bounce an idea off of, or to ask questions, please don't hesitate to email me at this channel, at this email address. I will get back to you as quickly as I possibly can. And if I'm not sure how to answer it exactly, or want to make sure I'm wording it well, these two ladies right here with me, I'm going to bounce it off of them, have them get their input, and word it as best as I possibly can to give you the best possible answer.
That's real, though. RJ is very articulate. Has anybody ever told you that? How articulate you are? It's very beautiful. You're very articulate. That's a compliment. You're very articulate. And that's real, though. We all here for you, though, too, Lisa, by the way.
24/7.
Yep, absolutely. You're welcome. You're welcome, Charlie. I'm not trying to do it out there to get anybody's personal information or anything like that. That's not my interest. Just so you guys know, and that is not my interest with that email address.
But see, that's the thing. If more people would be there to help others, that would help just so much and not harm them. If people would have people they could trust and just come to and talk to, even just little things, just to cut up and go on about when they feel sad, lift them up.
Absolutely.
Stop and smell the roses every now and then instead of worrying about something all the time. Take a break, talk about it, sit and chit chat, have fun. It makes a whole big difference in your life. I've learned that, especially over the last year. I mean, just you have something that weighs hard on your mind. Sometimes you need to just reach out. And if you have someone or a group or whatever, don't be afraid to reach out to them.
What you said.
And I have trust issues, bad trust issues.
Facts.
But I found you all. And you two are my two goes. My go-to people. And I have my best friend in the world who's like my sister. If I didn't have her, I wouldn't have made it through what I went through. And then, like I said, and my daughter also. But if I found you two. I found RJ. We found each other, whatever, how you want to say it. And then I found you through him. And we clicked. I had no problems. I mean, it was just like I didn't have no problems with that trust.
Carrie, I remember how we found each other.
Oh, I want to know. You
Carrie,
don't have to tell me. You can tell me later if you
no,
if
no,
you
no,
need
no. It's
to.
fine. Carrie and I were both in AB's chat room chats, and got introduced to another streamer, and we kind of both left AB and started talking to this other streamer, which I became part of her lives for a while. But that's how her.
And I think we went over to the other channel about the same time, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
That's what.
But in AB's chat, we didn't talk to each other
Right. Yeah.
because it was too busy.
It's very busy, and it's very busy. And
But
shouts out to y'all for that. That's interesting. Let me not.
But when we went over to the other person's chat, and we were both saying, "Oh, I'm from AB," and we just kind of like stuck with this other person's chat. It's how we got to talk to each other, and the more we talked to each other, we realized we were thick as thieves together.
Oh yeah, and our first disagreement, it was so funny.
Oh goodness! It was no. It was purely my fault. It was purely my fault.
And we will be friends till the end. You watch and see. That was exactly what I said. And afterwards, that's exactly what I told you. And I told him that too. I said, I knew right there. I said, we were going to be friends. And he's going to have to run me off to get rid of me. Because it was the way that we had it. That's the way you should have disagreements, though. And it was funny, though.
Right. And so what happened? So what happened was that we were actually going over, and I was doing, you know how I like to geek out on maps, and we were kind of doing a little bit of a look around Beach Creek community, specifically Ben Hill Road, and the stupid map redirectioned itself, and I got confused as can be of which direction, what we're like. If I look at it one way, I 100% know it, but it just, I got twisted around, and I was pointing out things in the wrong direction.
That's real logical, though. Just throwing it out there.
Listen, you know what was throwing it off? That daggum shed.
The shed.
Maybe
we should bring back the shed. It's all this craziness going on, but there's the shed. It's like the shed. Whatever happened in that shed, I don't care. It's not good. It's creepy. It's a shed.
Okay, tell it, RJ, because it's so hilarious.
What was that?
Did you finish telling the rest of it?
Oh no, that was it. That really was it. It was that. That's how like we.
Oh yeah. It was so funny, and
it's just like the longer we spoke is the longer that we realized, like, wait a minute, how did he know this before it even came out to be?
We were talking about the same exact thing, the same exact spot.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And Carrie knows that I don't drive, so I've never been physically out to the Ben Hill Road. But I'm familiar enough with the area that I live in that I know things about that, and I've lived in the area, whether it be down in Johnson City area or in Bristol or here where I live now. That I know where things are. even when I didn't drive, I had people that knew people in this area or that area, and we didn't stay in just where I live, my apartment was. You know, we'd go visit people in other apartments and things, or other places to live, and I learned where things were. You know, that's how come I was familiar with the old schoolhouse on top of Chimney Top Loop, and I knew that was there before John Q started talking about that with me. I knew it was there.
Mm-hmm. But
I may not know the street name, but I knew the school was there. But Lisa, thank you very much for the compliment that you like this channel. And Charlie, you and I have had the conversation that you have a strong group of empaths in this chat. You have a very strong, and one of these days, Cosplay is going to be brave and bring Thea into the chat to listen.
She's gonna figure it all out.
Yeah.
Yes, she is.
Because as a parent, like my mom was an empath and she fought that. I mean, even until like 2 or 3 years ago, she fought that. But I knew she was. She told me stories. And I'm like, no, bro, you're an empath. And I'm more empathic than her. But then I got a daughter, bro, y'all. I don't know.
Right, but it's one of those deals where it takes time to refine. So she's young. And
having open communication is huge about the whole issue, because it was like, I didn't grow up with it being like a thing. There was more than 5 senses. Like, that wasn't a thing. Science has proved that. Science has proved that, though. Science has proved that there's like 36, 42, whatever the number is. There's way more senses. And I'm not going to deflect from that, because she definitely has them, and she's stronger than me. She's stronger than me, and I see it. I'm like, oh shit! Watch out, world.
Yes, Charlie. Yes, that's exactly how we found each other, was through Miss Daisy's channel. But there is no, and Lisa, that's fair. That is absolutely fair. I personally believe that, and this is just my personal belief, and nobody has to agree with this, that even though your child is your child, other than your spouse, if you have a great relationship, that child is truly your best friend. Even though you raised that child, you birthed that child, when that child becomes into their teenage years and becomes an adult, that child is your best friend. And the reason I say that is because you go from a parent, what a parent should be, which is the child's biggest advocate in the world, to being there will be a point in life, and if the earlier the child realizes that their parent is the only cheerleader, the only person that is ever going to be on their side in life is their parent. And they can, in their mind, turn that from being that this is not just their mother or their father, but this is the person that these are the people that they can count on for the rest of their life, as always being there for them. The better off the child is.
That's beautifully said. That's beautifully said, by the way. That's so real. For people that are good parents, like that's the crazy thing. There are people that are just not good parents, but you got people that are great parents. And like, I have all boys, and my youngest is a daughter. Like, and I'm like, she's got both of my X chromosomes. She is 100% me, 100% me. And I expect her to be better than me because she is better than me. You know, like, I just, having empathic kids and learning that you're an empath all at the same time, like, she blows my mind. But so do the rest of them, though. So do the rest of them. Because, like, I'm like, am I crazy? But everybody else is like, no, you're not crazy, but you crazy. And then Thea's like, just makes it all worthwhile. And I'm
Right.
like, I'm doing something right. Something.
Exactly. Exactly.
Absolutely.
But Lisa, no, I understand that you don't trust anybody and you only talk to your daughter, and that's perfectly acceptable. And a valid reason. But still, I just want to let you know that you have 3 people that are 100% there for you.
And I was the same way, Lisa. And like RJ says, there's nothing wrong with that. You have a reason for that, just like I did. And just like before I joined the YouTube community, for months and months, I wouldn't even chat because that's how bad my trust issues were. I wouldn't even chat. And then I call it baby steps. When I felt like it, I did. But I didn't feel like I didn't. And then I just slowly progressed from there. And I'm glad I did because, I met these 2 wonderful people. And there's another wonderful person that I chat with. And, but I did it it's a slow process until I felt like it, till I felt safe to do it. And, I still keep my guard up with my trust, but, I'm not going to deny myself happiness either. But if I don't feel safe, I'm, not going to trust. I'm just, always prepared for anything or try to be.
And Carrie does a great job with that because everything she's saying, she's dropping so much knowledge. Because I wasn't a YouTuber, I was a Facebook liver, I guess, and that whole community was crazy. And I got burnt. I got burnt on people. I got burnt on people in my personal life. And at the end of the day, I still have hope in people. And I have found some of the most amazing people, um, amazing people. And I have a really good friend that I go and meet she's in Colorado. We did cosplay together. I know it's kind of stupid, but anyway. But I got burnt, and then I didn't give up on people. So don't give up on people. Just keep your guard up. Just keep your guard up.
Yep. There's a huge difference between keeping your guard up and giving up on people.
That's right.
There's
and I call it love from afar. I love them from afar, but I still love them, but I love them from afar. Then I got my close ones I love.
And y'all, we don't.
You're basically saying exactly what I was going to say. It's like if you date somebody, you have to go through a period of time that you have to let them prove that they are worth investing that kind of emotion into. And it's not something you can tell in 3 weeks, in 3 dates. Some people are just so stupid about that.
You know, that's funny you say that because
I was about to say the same thing. It's funny you say that. Go ahead.
somebody
Carrie.
asked me today if I had started dating yet. Now, remind you, I just recently got divorced. I was married for over 25 years. I won't go into all the details, but anyway, recently divorced. And I looked at them and I said, not really. Now, I did go out on one, and I went because it was a school friend. I knew it was just a friendly thing. So I don't consider it a date. But I said, no, I haven't. No, that is like the furthest thing from my mind right now because you know what? Dating sure is not like it was when I was younger.
That's when you find them, though, Carrie. That's when you find them,
Well,
though.
wait, hold up. Wait, now listen. I told them because they're in a similar situation as mine, and I said a companion. If I run into somebody that wants to go have a good movie, go have a good dinner, I'm all game for that. No problems with that. But I got to know them. It ain't. I'm not going on these blind dates. None of these. Well, I just met. No, I no trust issues. But still, you know, I ain't going with no stranger. That's it. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You just got to be careful. And I'm just now rediscovering life itself. And so I'm going to enjoy it. Stop and smell the roses. Stop and smell
Mhm.
the tulips because I love tulips. Tulips are my favorite. But, and I was like, dating is not like a big thing in the back of my head, you know. But if I run into somebody and, we want to go have a movie, I'm not going to say no. And because they're having the same problem because but I said don't deny yourself if that's what you want to do. Don't deny it. Don't
Then
keep
do
going
it.
and having fun with a friend, or if you meet a person and you do want to go out with them, don't deny yourself that you are rediscovering life. And don't feel guilty about it because that's another phase you got to go through is feeling guilty for doing something good for yourself.
Yep. Yep. But be like Nike and just do it.
Yeah, just do it.
Just
But
do it.
baby, you can drop me off on my doorstep and then you get back in your car and go home. I'm good with that.
I agree 100%.
Unless you take
100%.
me to IHOP first, then you can take me to IHOP, then you can drop me off at my house.
Yeah, but you definitely got to feed me. I had IHOP like yesterday.
I know RJ gets tired of hearing me talking about IHOP because I be all the time talking about IHOP.
Well, I
No,
had something good from IHOP
because we
yesterday.
talk
It was
about
so good.
no, I don't get tired of it because we talk about Waffle House. We got to talk about some
Yes,
other places they're good to go eat Red
Waffle
Lobster.
House, Red Lobster. Like, stop
Olive
going with
Garden.
my like.
Olive
Those
Garden.
are my like restaurants. Well, Chili's and those are all my go-to restaurants. Waffle House though, Waffle House has my heart. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I said if they would, and I'm sorry for anybody who works at IHOP and Walmart if they hear this. I do apologize ahead of time. But if they would just open the Waffle House, excuse me, the Waffle House is already open 24 hours again. But the IHOP and the Walmart 24 hours, I'd be set. I would be a
Y'all
happy
don't have
little
that?
camper for the rest of my life because I'm a nighttime person. And I
Well,
like
you need to move to West Tennessee because we got that. It is right there beside each other at the same
Yeah.
time.
We actually did have that before the
before
pandemic.
COVID.
But
sorry.
since the pandemic, and even
pandemic.
though with everything reopening, they've not done that.
Yeah,
They're
it's
closing by 11 o'clock at night.
by 11 o'clock. And I so miss going to Walmart at 2 o'clock in the morning. I really
That's
do.
the only time I used to go. I'm like, why would you go at any other time?
Yeah. And just, that was just a thing. I'm like, can I just have that back, please? I'm simple. I'm easygoing.
So
So
I do
easy
have
there.
a comment up here. I've had up here for a few moments now, and I want to say congratulations, Charlie. Congratulations for being sober for a year and 6 months. Please do not lose sight that it's one day at a time. Every single day, it continues to be a fight for your sobriety every day.
I'm gonna take that
Absolutely.
to. I'm gonna take that
Congratulations.
and say it's 1 second at a time. It is like anytime you're struggling with anything like that, it's 1 second at a time. It's minute by minute. Like I used to say, I was gonna write a book and I was gonna call it not 1 day at a time, but 1 second at a time because that's important. Like it's you keep doing you and you keep striving to do better, and that's all you can do. That's all you can do. You just do better. Do or do not. There is no try. Master Yoda. There's my quote.
And you be
I'm
proud,
sorry.
Charlie. Be proud.
Yes, definitely be proud of that. That's definitely be proud of that. Definitely. But you
But
good here though. You good here though. Just so you know, you good.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. But still, just it's always to have when you're going through that, and even for me with my issues with alcohol, with I like to binge drink. Um, Sometimes I don't go anywhere or I go only very limited places because I know that the places that I could go, there's a liquor store nearby, and going and buying a bottle of rum or whiskey, because they were my choices, you know, would be very tempting and very easy for me to walk in and buy a bottle, and I can't do that. For my health, I can't do that. That's why I can honestly say to you, somebody, even though your choice uh, your drug or
Of choice.
alcohol or not, the choice of your substance, it's still, we have that commonality where we have to remind ourselves it's one. You were saying 1 second, but I always say one day at a time.
I agree though. And honestly, you inspire me too, because I should probably not drink as much as I do. But so honestly, it's all inspiring. Like I worked in substance abuse, and I'm like, maybe I'm drinking more than I should. It's late. My kids aren't home. It's not liquor, it's beer. Damn it. But excuse my language. But honestly, you just have a sprinkle of something to people to come together about things. Like you and Carrie drop knowledge that people should listen to because it's real. It's real. And I applaud that so very much, especially after following this case since the Amber Alert went out. Well, I
Mm-hmm.
say Summer Wells, but like I followed this so long, and here I am, and there's a sense of community because it doesn't matter what creator we watch. We watch different creators. We do. It is what it is. But
Right.
we can bring everything together and learn from each other, and to me that's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Oh yeah. So you started following this. I believe the Amber Alert went out approximately 12:15, 12:30, or it was somewhere in about that range my time. So you were about 5 hours after the 911 call, dispatch call went out.
I'm an hour behind y'all, but I did get it because my kids get it. Like when my kids get Ever Alert, it freaks them out. Like they stop everything they're doing. They're like, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god!" So I got this Amber Alert, and I wasn't a YouTuber, and I just happened to like, oh, let me follow these groups. Let me follow these groups. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Not been able to talk about this case. I have not been somebody that's just really followed true crime like that. I mean, kind of, sort of. I have Evelyn Boswell. Yet, like, I saw, like, I wasn't YouTubing, Facebooking, none of that. None of that. But there's just something different about this case. I have my own personal feelings. I have not even talked to y'all about why and what it is that's brought me to this case. But I'm here for it because I I think that, sorry to bring it back to Summer Wells, my bad. But
Oh no, you're fine. I said that without any of the crime, any of the stories we've been following were on the table for discussion. I was not setting an agenda for tonight, but I was mainly starting off with and focusing on what happened in Texas. So you're perfectly fine. Don't need to apologize.
I was like, you have an open panel, so I'm finna talk.
Mm-hmm.
Honey, you good? Because I ain't got no filter. And he let me up here.
Look, my AirPods just died. I'm like, there's no kids in that. I'm like, okay, so I can put my phone on like speakerphone. But okay. But there's something about this case to me well, there's things I psychoanalyze myself, which is a terrible thing, but it's not a bad thing, I guess, because at least I'm trying to look at every different possibility and every different little thing. We follow different creators, and that's cool. But the cool thing is that we can come together. We can come together about facts. We can come together about we all of us want justice.
Absolutely.
One
All
thing.
of us want justice. So
And that's exactly where I want to see justice for a victim. And I'm not talking vigilante justice, because vigilante justice just puts more lives in jeopardy.
it does. I do like Batman though.
Well,
That was a joke.
yeah,
But
I'm chuckling over it, and I was like, well, but vigilante justice in the wrong, done in the wrong way, only puts more lives at risk.
you're right.
And there's a certain creator on YouTube that you both know I have major issues with. And guys, I'm sorry, I'm not mentioning his name because I'm not giving him any credibility. But when you hear the description of who this individual is, you'll know who I'm talking about. His whole entire channel, when you look at his whole entire channel in a nutshell, whether it's going after who he says is SA predators or not, his whole channel is predicated on vigilante justice. I have no issue with somebody going and working for an agency that works with the police to help find people, predators on the internet, trying to find the little kids to make them a victim. But the thing is that with what they do is they gather all these reports, gather all this, they document all this information, then they turn it over to the police and they let the police handle it. And if the police want to warrant, say this is worth pursuing, we have warrants for information. We need you to continue contacting him because we're now working with you on this particular one. That's a whole different scenario than what this vigilante justice person has done. You don't go and confront the person yourself. That is the police's responsibility, not somebody that is doing this to try to catch predators.
I agree. And we don't have no Batmans because all the vigilante justice that's going on is not vigilante justice. Let me just drop that. Let me sprinkle
Mhm.
that in there.
Oh yeah. No, you're fine. So like I said, if you really watch the creators on YouTube, just by that description of this person, you'll know exactly who I'm talking about.
Absolutely. And I'll leave it at that.
Charlie, I have been, when I went on Miss Daisy's channel that day with John Q, I had said, and I seriously mean this, that my job that day was slow. I had Broadcastify on, and I heard the dispatch call for going out to the officers when it happened for somewhere else.
Charlie, what was your music video that you clicked on? Because honestly, like I love to go and watch like videos and live music performances. Like what was that? What was the song that you went to? I'm just curious. It's interesting to me. I love music a lot. I can't do anything with music, but I love it a lot. Actually, that's my go-to. You can ask RJ and Carrie. Like sometimes I'm like, I just gotta go listen to music. I just gotta tune my brain down and listen to music. And I think that could be something that's very relevant. So I know that sounds stupid.
Those,
Empathic shit.
That's therapy music for the soul.
oh
Yes,
yeah,
I'm like, yes. So I'm like, what was it you was listening to? Like, ooh, let me put that in my playlist.
well, yeah. There was one night where you were indecisive about who to listen to, and I was like, well, I've been really listening to DC Talk a lot lately, and I think you actually went and started listening to DC Talk that night.
I actually listened to DC Talk and like Jars of Clay. Like Jars of Clay was like I love Jars of Clay. Like that whole like wow music 1997 through 2002 whatever. Like the contemporary Christian music was actually amazing. At that time and the revolution of how people was trying to put out like I'm not talking about like religion or whatever
Hmm.
because there's a spirituality thing, but it hit me because I love it hit something to me, so I definitely love DC Talk, and I love Georgia Clay, so it instantly sent me into a mood to where I could listen to something. It was great stuff. Like I needed somebody to flick that little thing on the guitar, one little
Hmm.
note to be able to get me through. And that's sometimes what I do. I can't sing. I try to. I can't play an instrument. I really can't. But my family can all do that. My husband can do that. They all do that. So there's something musically inclined. I can read music a little bit, baby steps.
Right.
And there's something so beautiful about that it tends to get me through things. And I love watching things on YouTube and like videos of epic performances of I don't know. So I love music. So shouts out. So if he lets us know what song he was listening to, please let me know. Please.
I don't think he remembers. He's not really answering to that. Oh, see, Charlie, I can listen to just about anything but country music. And yeah, it includes opera. And in fact, one of my, I was actually through my job, I couldn't remember somebody's name, and I should have been able to remember their name because it was my favorite opera, or one of my favorite ones, um, Carmen. uh, oh,
I'm
opera is
not
such a
much of an
beautiful.
opera. It probably is, but I'm not much of an opera person either. I'm not gonna lie. But I'm not much of a country person either, unless it's like, that old school country, like 80s, early 90s country. I I can Garth Brooks all day, Randy Travis all day. But and I am from Tennessee. I ain't from them mountains on on the east
You
side.
from
I'm
them there hills?
we don't have them hills over here, but we close to Arkansas, and then there's mountains, the Ozarks over here.
Yeah,
So we got a little
I was gonna say
banjo.
she's from the Ozark side. It's a
Yep,
it's a
yep.
little bit different over there from the Appalachian
That's
side.
but it is different, but it's not a whole lot different. But there is differences. It's very different. there, but there's a lot of similarities. I'm just saying. But it's flat as hell over here. We ain't got no hollers in West Tennessee. Nope, no hollers.
Oh Lord, them hollers.
But I've been to the hollers. Not
She knows
them
about them
hollers.
hollers.
He knows about them.
I not them hollers, not Beach Creek and none of them hollers. But I got a little knowledge of East Tennessee,
No,
Maynardville, them areas.
see, the thing about Beach Creek, and since we're mentioning that, it's just one bad holler.
Well, we have that in West Tennessee too. It's just not hollers. Like we got like Hillville, like we have though, but it's just not hollers.
That's a type of holler that you only find. What should I say?
Well, it goes deep because it's a mountain.
Yeah, that just.
It goes deep
It's the
'cause it's a
Appalachians.
mountain.
It's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's the Appalachians, where
Look.
if you look at the history of that holler, it was it probably goes back, and I don't know this concretely, but I'm going to tell you it goes back to the days of when the people could make a run for property, and somebody had a horse or something, a horse that could that they marked off all that land for them, and that's where their family lived on.
It's the same way in West Tennessee, which is weird, but we ain't in the hollers. It's so similar because it's just different, but it's real. It's so real.
It's like, I want to say it's stuck in time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's exactly what it is.
I've been there. Y'all know what I think about it. But the only other
Well, it makes sense. It makes sense in my opinion.
It's stuck in time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it makes sense. 100%.
And Lisa, you're 100% right on that.
Okay, so Charlie, okay, what is a holler? Well, holler is actually not the right word. It's the local pronunciation. It's hollow, HOLLOW. But locally they pronounce it a holler.
In West Tennessee, we're gonna say holla.
Okay, and what it is it's little communities, just like you have with Beach Creek Road, or I'm sorry, Beach Creek with Ben Hill Road, where it's a little side street off of a secondary street. Usually, it's a little valley in between a major elevation, where all of a sudden you'll have like anywhere between 5 and 10 house little community back there. And if you turn down the street, You're going to have somebody know that you're turning down the street, and just like the woman that lived across the street in the I can't remember her name in the TV show Bewitched, where she was always spying on what happened with at the house, the other house across the road. You're going to have somebody peeking out from behind the curtains and knowing that you're on that street and that you don't belong there.
That's
They know
real.
who comes in, they know who goes out
That's real though.
at all times.
Yep. So that's just a very basic understanding of what a holler is. I dated a woman that lived in a holler. Absolutely nothing wrong with that holler at all. I had have no second thought about going back there. It had its own little area. Somebody had in one corner of their property. It was a little tiny pond, and they didn't mark it off, fence it off, for that it was a private pond, even though it was. But anybody in that community live in that area could go swimming or go fishing in that pond. And that property owner wouldn't say anything. Wouldn't call the police, nothing. Oh no. If an outsider went there though, the police got called on them quick. They didn't belong there.
This is a Southern thing, 100%, because that's so real.
It's more
so real.
It's not so much a Southern thing as it's more of it is Southern, but it's a Northern Southern thing. If you go down to like Alabama,
yeah,
they don't exist. Hollers don't exist.
No,
it's
no,
really
like, no.
It's the Northern Southern states.
Yeah.
And especially up in the mountains.
East. I agree.
I lived in one for 10 years. Now, the one I lived in, but nothing like that over there. We actually got some sun. And it was pretty up my hop. And yeah, now our holler was like 2 miles long. We had a lot of people up in our holler too now. But everybody knew everybody. You knew who came in, you knew who come out. One way in, one way out.
Mm-hmm. And it was a small road going in and out.
Very small road. Yes, very small road. And we all watched out for each other. All watched out for each other. I mean, if the person half a mile up the road from you noticed something strange, they'd be calling you and telling you, watch out for this, watch out for that. Our kids ran all over the place. We all kept our eye on our kids, the neighbors' kids, the kids up the road. The dogs would run around everywhere. We all took care of each other. But we still had respect. We still had morals. But you don't come up in our hollers not to be doing something you're not supposed to be doing. We didn't act like that, put it that way. It just didn't, no. And there's several here. And, the people still have, and some of those people still stuck in time, but they still, didn't act like that.
Yeah, this is just, like I say, I don't think I've described it this way in a while, but Hawkins County is its own separate identity,
right?
And when it's not like the city areas of mostly in the Tri-Cities area. It is it's a very nice blend of people that are Yankees, or excuse the expression, damn Yankees, and people that are traditional Southern. It's yes, there is some people, some families that are like, oh, we just accept you because you bought a house here, but we really don't want anything to do with you because you're not from the South. You're a Yankee. You're a damn Yankee. But the thing about the Tri-Cities area and why it's a very nice mix of both is that it's the Yankees that have gotten tired of the city hustle bustle life, and want a slower pace of life, and have come down and found this area to be a perfect area to live in because you have the mix of the ease of access to things that a major city would have, but you don't have that hustle and bustle where you got to be always hustling for things. It's just not that way. Hawkins County, I don't have any issues with Hawkins County. It gets country quick. And then you run into a holler like Beach Creek area, especially Ben Hill Road, where even though Ronnie Lawson had said that he's never known that area to be a bad area, it has issues. And it's a black eye on the Tri-Cities area. That's all it is. It's a horrible story what's happened to Summer Wells, but it's a black eye on the Tri-Cities area.
Let me say this, Charlie. He says not to change the subject. This is why I don't think someone took Summer one way in, one way out. Also, I've been over there. I have went over there a couple times searching for Summer. And I did go to Beach Creek. Excuse me. Ben Hill Road. There's also another reason. To best...
Carrie, hang on 1 second.
Okay.
Sorry, ladies. I need to step away for like 2 minutes. I'm muting myself. I'll be right back.
Okay.
You're good, RJ. Go ahead, Carrie.
I didn't know if he wanted me to wait till he got back or not.
I think he was trying to listen. He might have to go to the bathroom, you know. I just said.
I'll say it. If he does, I'll say it again. But he knows. The best way, actually, to describe it is there is 4. I'm not going to count the neighbor as you first go in. So as you first turn, you do have that one, but we're not going to count her. You go down.
Why though? Why would you not count her?
Because I'll tell you why. That is the open area. That's right there on the highway.
Right on the corner.
As you turn left to go on Ben Hill Road, you have the first neighbor. Right there, wide open. Then you go down into the holler. It's like you drive into a forest.
I see this like like the visual you're putting in my head is so real right now.
Just wait. So you drive the little bitty road into the holler. It's like you're driving into a forest. To the right, you see a road. Yeah, it's like a road going into a forest. You go up a hill.
Not a road.
Bam. There's their house. The Wells' house. Okay. If you drive past the Wells' house, drive a little bit further down, to the left, another driveway. Like I said,
Bernard.
It's forest. That would be Andy and Jody Stoops.
The Bernards.
The Bernards. Yes, thank you. The Bernards. Okay. Past the Bernards, you drive on down, and it goes like a Y. but it also circles because it's a dead end. You turn around and straight back out. You go to the right, it's like you're driving into a forest again. You go to the left, you're driving into a forest. It takes you to the other neighbors' houses. But you don't see these houses because, like I said, it's like a forest.
It's on down the gravel path.
Right. So that's why nobody is going to just go in there unless one, they live there.
Or they have a bit
They
a
have
purpose.
business there.
Business purpose.
Right. Or they're just lost.
Or they just, well, now that's a new thing because they just lost because everybody going to Beach Creek.
And 9 times out of 10, everybody got GPS. You ain't gonna get lost. You put your GPS in there and you know where you're going. So I'm not even gonna chalk up the lost thing. So
Oh,
yeah, it's just like you would draw it. And all you would draw is like a road going into a forest. That's the
I
best way
can
I
see
can
it so
explain it.
well. I can see it so well. Like there's been so many maps and so many this and that. And I have a little bit of knowledge of East Tennessee and the hollers and um Maynardville and places like way over there like that. So I have a little bit, and I can see it so well. And you described it so well. It was so beautiful
And well, see,
because
that's
So
I
if you're
realized
if you're looking at your
Jody C's
screens right
house
now,
is. Oh, okay.
if you're looking at your screens
Okay,
right now,
look at you.
I threw up Google Earth real quick, just so you can get a visual of what Carrie's explaining. Right here in this general area where I'm circling my mouse around is that Y in the road.
So, but you passed the Wells house before you passed Jody C's house. I've never
yes,
asked him about that.
yes.
Okay,
The Wells
okay.
is actually, that's why I said I don't count the neighbor as you first go in because she's right
Yeah,
there, or
yeah,
he or
on the
she, whoever
corner.
it is right there on the highway. So they're
Yeah.
not even in the holler. They're not even in the holler.
Okay.
You
I've
got to go
never even
into the holler.
tried to think about whose driveway was first. So
The
that's
first
actually
driveway is the Wells's driveway.
Mm-hmm.
that's
Then you have
amazing.
the Bernard
That's
on down the road. Then on down, you get to the Y. Goes to the right, goes to
The left. Well, it's more straight than left, or
left,
yeah.
and that is
but
the hills
does it
on the
get a
left.
little more gravelier? Like more like you're getting even
Their
further
road,
in?
when it goes into the Y, the road on the
Yeah.
right is a gravel road, and then the road on the left is a gravel road. Yeah, they're all.
Okay.
I'm sorry, excuse me. They're all gravel roads that I recollect. Yeah, and they're. I'm telling you what, the videos that the other people, that they did, and they put them on YouTube. They make that place. Videos make places look a whole lot better. Actually, those videos make that place look better than it really looks like.
I bet they
It
do.
really
Like
does.
no, I definitely bet 100% that's real facts.
Yeah,
I
but
know I've been past this area years ago. Or not, when I say years ago, I'm like 5-7 years ago. I've been past this area,
mhm.
but I've never been like. I've always been with people that know exactly where they're going and just zoom right past it and go they'll mention like you don't want to get lost in that area.
And see, when I went, I didn't have no plan to talk to none of them, to stop at none of their houses. I wanted to see the area.
Mhm.
And I've drove in hollers before, so I knew, which I do anyway, to do my business and get out. Don't draw no attention to myself. Don't make no scenes. Don't disrupt them. This is their area. Don't disrupt nobody. And I did, and I had no problems, none whatsoever. I drove in there. I looked, I didn't get out of my car. I just kept driving. Actually, I took one other person with me. I believe they're watching, but I won't mention no names. I didn't go by myself. Because you plan for everything. But I wanted to see the general area. And like I said, it was like driving into a forest. You're
Mhm.
like driving into a forest, and
So
those roads are terrible. The drive up to their houses, they are awful. I don't care what anybody says; they're awful.
so this is Beach Creek Road, way out here. Okay, it's windy. It curves around the edge of the Wells property. Right here is the beginning of Ben Hill Road. Follow this road. You would think it's going to go straight through the woods and come out over here where it looks like it does, but it curves around and comes over here and then back around
Hmm.
to over here.
And on Beach
And
Creek Road, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
mhm. No, I was gonna say not far past up where Ben Hill- where the Wells property is where it actually turns over from being a paved road coming right off the main road and then goes to being gravel dirt road.
What was the date on these videos though? Um, it's so hard to look at land from drones. I will say that. And dirt paths and whatever, and how the foliage is. Like, when was this exact
Um,
video or Google Earth image?
Mm-hmm. So this Google Earth image is 2019.
Well, that's legit. As a scientist, like plus or minus, like was 10 years. We'll give it 5 years. That's legit. Okay.
Yeah, down here at the bottom, imagery date is October 18th, 2019. Or actually say nine. Wait a minute, did I read that right?
2019.
Yeah,
That's legit.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's saying it's a newer image.
I'm just glad to know that I can see the road better now, because the Wells driveway was before, like, the Bernard's driveway. I
Yeah.
never really took that and tried to like, I did, but kind of I saw it, but
Well,
that's real though.
you've heard about the Sharpies property and Fred Hill's property and where the gate
Well,
is.
well, the Sharp, like, it wasn't the Sharpies though, right? Because the Sharpies, like, that
Well,
dude's just dating a girl on from the holler, like, right?
yeah, he's dating the lady that's staying there, who's taking care of her mother.
Mm-hmm.
So how long she been there?
Oh, she's been there for a long time. I'm pretty sure she's been there for a long time.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, because she's lived there, and then I think her daughter had to move in there with her to help take care of her, and he dates the daughter who lives there with her mom.
Okay, got you. So, okay,
Yeah. Well, the point about it, what I was making though, is that property is almost behind the Wells property. It's about back in here where I'm circling now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. These houses are not on top of each other; they are spaced out.
you in the hollers, they definitely spaced out.
And you ever see that movie, House on Haunted Hill?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. The Wells' his house. It's on a hill. It's on top of the hill, just like that. Now, it don't look like that house, but it is on top of a hill. Now, when you drive Beach Creek Road, if you drive the road, which I think I drove,
Which
I
direction you
think
want to
I
be
drove
ahead?
5 to 10 miles on Beach Creek Road past their house.
East or west?
Yeah. When you go past that shed that
Okay.
is at the bottom of their property, when the foliage is not heavy, I'm trying to think what month I went. It wasn't that long after she went missing. It was August, September, maybe
Oh,
something.
yeah, it gets hot as fuck.
But
So they
I
start.
could see, I could see Candace Harris camper. Not really the house, but I could see the camper. But you can kind of see it from the highway. But I drove all the way down that road looking. Now, there's some beautiful places out there. Beautiful, gorgeous places. There's some rundown places out there. Now, as you get further on down the road, I'm going to estimate 5 miles. Maybe not quite that far. You do get into some places that look like partying, put it that way. But it's nothing, in my opinion, like other people claim it to be. Like it's a big old party block. Now, I'm sure every place has their own, whatever you want to call it. But as far as I never seen anybody walking, I never seen a heavy flow of anything the whole time I was there. I know they come in spurts, but that just right there was more of there wasn't a lot of flow of traffic. I mean, they want to say it's a heavy trafficked area. To me, it wasn't. I mean, you had your normal cars go by, but it wasn't like a regular highway. You know how you have constant cars going on a highway? You know, I may have passed a total of 5 cars the whole time on that road. That's going in and out
On Beach Creek or Ben Hill?
on Beach Creek.
Okay, that makes more sense.
I didn't pass one car on Ben Hill because, like I said, there are only 4 people that live out there, and ain't nobody going down that road unless one or you got business. And thank goodness I didn't pass nobody because that road is smaller than a normal. Well, I don't know if you say a normal hauler road. I don't know what people consider a normal hauler road.
A skinny
it's-
gravel, half dirt
That's
gravel.
All
The-
small road.
This is a single lane road that
Yeah.
you
Okay.
literally have to pull
Ain't
off
no
into like
line.
somebody's driveway to another car to go down.
Ben
Is there
Hills
lines on Ben Hill Road? Is there line like
on the
it's a
Ben Hill
gravel
Road?
road, right?
Not
Yeah,
Ben
there ain't
Hill
no
Road.
lines.
That is
But
okay.
maybe-
This Ben Hill Road is your hauler road,
Yeah.
but
So
it
Beach
is like
Creek maybe has some lines.
you can only fit
like-
one car on there.
Beach Creek definitely is a lined road. It is
Okay,
definitely
Beach
a
Creek-
lined road.
Beach Creek is
Thank
your
you.
normal highway road.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and Ben
Beach Creek.
Hill is the down in the hollow.
Yeah, down in the holler. Your holler road is a normal 1-car road. That one there, you're lucky if you get your 1 car on it.
Because
Because
the
it's really
mountains,
small. I mean, it's a really
the
tiny
and
road.
the mountains is choppy in East Tennessee. I've been on them roads. Like, oh,
Well,
it's
just like
scary.
the holler I lived in, they widened the road, I'm sure, after so many years, because that road has never been that big.
But
they
in the
widened the road.
hoppers, they don't
That road's
widen
never
no
been widened, I
roads.
don't think.
Yeah, I was like, it has no lines. It's not widened. They have no lines. It's like it's at your own risk.
Yeah, that's a risk it if you want it.
Yep.
The yeah, no, so Beach Creek Road is actually a county road. It's a county numbered road. It's 347. So that is definitely going to be a lined road. It's going to be maintained by the county, not some little rickety community that can't financially do it. It's handled by the county. So it's definitely a small ish.
We have them in West Tennessee too, but we just ain't got the hollers.
That's a true holla, and it's holla road.
Yeah. So Charlie asked a question. So how did Jody Sue hear a scream if she did? She didn't.
She didn't hear no scream.
First of all, her property is about 100 yards and downhill from where the Wells property, the house sits. Okay. And Ronnie Lawson, pretty much, I believe this is back in August or September, and this was recently. Other channels have been reminding people of this. That Ronnie Lawson actually said there was no credibility to what Jody Sue was saying. He didn't come out and directly say Jody Sue, but he said there was no credibility to the reports of the scream or the car door. But Carrie, you were going to say something as well.
I said, no, she didn't. I was agreeing with Charlie. Because, like I said, I know some sound carries. I understand that. But in that holler like that, in that forest, I just know there's just no way possible that unless you had a bullhorn and somebody was screaming into that I could believe.
Oh my God.
Horn honk, I can believe that. But
I like this. Hey, I like to say it's James Bond's spy level of spy technology. So yeah, you know.
yeah, I mean,
Hold on. I will have to say this though. You know, being on different parts of the state. So the echoes of the holler. I am not pro nor against anybody in any of this case. I love to listen to everything. But the echoes of the holler, it's like Sleepy Hollow. Like there is an echo. And I even think that like I don't want to say any other creative, but I think there's been a local that's tried to prove that early on, who's now like I don't know, but I do know with the mountains and stuff, things do echo. I don't know if I'm not saying I believe anything that's being said about it. I can't rule nothing out. I can't rule nothing out with this case. And that's the crazy thing. You can't rule nothing out. Like, we're limited with facts, but them hollers do echo. We flat over here in West
and you
Tennessee.
can hear.
We so flat over here in West Tennessee. And so when you still hear stuff in West Tennessee, like, and we don't have no mountains, but then there's some echoes in the hollers.
Okay,
But
here,
I don't.
let me ask you this: if
It could
what
have
was
been a
it?
bear.
It was a muffled scream.
Animalistic.
But first it was muffled. Okay, first it was a muffled sound.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm gonna call BS on that. I'm sorry, and if they want to challenge, anybody wants to challenge me on that, I'm more than happy to be disproven wrong. But I was there. I seen the area. Even a muffled sound or scream, unless you're right near it, you're not going to hear it from anything. Even if you're at a store, you're not going to hear it unless you're within what? I'm going to say 10 feet. And that's what
Well, the foliage probably also helps to take away sound. That there could be that too. I I don't know. I don't know that it was anything that happened at the mountain, Wells Mountain, but uh, it could have been a dang cow or deer. You know,
well,
you
you
don't.
got to think how many. Okay, we had first it was what 13 dogs, then it was 10 dogs, then it was 8.
Oh,
But you got all these dogs running around.
and then it was not. There was no dogs. There was no
Then we
dogs at
have no
one
dogs.
point.
Then you have this, you have that, you have. Okay, I'm just no, I can't with that. I just no, I can't even entertain that ideal
I
because
know,
I just can't.
but
I,
the
I,
damn dogs.
unless you're Tarzan of the jungle, I'm sorry, I just can't.
Yeah,
And I'm
exactly.
open for anybody to take me there and disprove me wrong. I am more than happy to actually witness that. But unless you're Tarzan of the jungle, I just don't see. And I'll let
No, Charlie, no, a deer or a sick raccoon, no, 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 no. They're not even going to make enough noise to be heard.
It wouldn't be muffled.
Yeah,
It wouldn't be muffled. That would be a bass sounding. That would be more of a bass sounding voice if it's going to echo through the hollers, in my opinion. But I mean, I don't know. Like, I have no
hey,
idea. Like,
I heard a baby cub hollered for its mama.
honestly, no.
Okay, I remember the first time I ever heard that, and I thought somebody was dying. I was like, what in the holy heck is that sound? Come, is something dying? And then somebody explained to me what that was. I said, what?
and you
Well,
know, it's
they
going to
said
echo
that's
through
a
the
baby cub
hollers.
hollered for its mommy because it's lost. It was like a something like that, really high pitched. Maybe that's what she heard. Maybe it was outside her house. I still can't even entertain that one during the day. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
that honestly, that's what I'm thinking it was because let's not forget what Jody Sue used that the property that was on Ben Hill Road for.
Right.
Okay,
That's right.
let's not forget what she used. She will say quite often that she camped outside on that property, and that when she was done with her business on that property, she would go to her ex's other house or other property, which is on the next holler over.
Mm-hmm.
No, it wasn't nothing. It definitely wasn't nothing. It probably was an animal of some sort
Mm-hmm.
that was off property from where she lived, because that the address, what is that, under 4 acres of that property for that
Yeah,
particular property address?
I believe so.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
I will say this, though.
And it wasn't
Cannot
dinner.
hold.
That's
I
right.
cannot hold her responsible for being the person that actually is the one that calls. Like, does she have not? Like, she may have knowledge. Like, there's a whole entanglement about all these people that are randomly involved, and it is what it is. But like, do I think that she is the one? No, she's not the one.
No, I
Does she
don't.
have guilty knowledge? I mean, who knows what everybody knows? Everybody's kind of covering for everybody, and we have all these characters. So it's I don't
Well,
know. Like,
like I've said before, and I'll openly say it. I believe with Little Miss Summers' disappearance, that's one crime in itself. But it also put a spotlight on another crime that was happening.
yes,
So, therefore, a reinforcer, should I say,
Have a good
had
night, Lisa.
to come in and keep track so that that spotlight wouldn't get put on that other crime that was going on. But now people have caught on to that. So you really have two crimes, but one crime has just been going on a little bit longer.
Hmm. Well,
I
if
think
you
I
look
agree with
at
that.
what I had exposed about, or I'm going to take a little bit of leeway of credit of saying that Jody Sue was about to be exposed,
Hmm.
and boy, did she get exposed. But back in 2011, and this is what I did on the last stream I did. This is the reason why I went into this information. It's about the controlled substance level 2, whatever it is. When I went into that information, was that when this was originally, and at the time she was charged with her crimes, it was only for meth. It was not until 2014 that it was expanded to include other controlled substance level 2 items, which is cocaine and oxy and things like that. But when at the time that she was charged, it was only meth.
And see, I believe, if she had just not kept having loose lips, I'll just say it, and stopped spotlighting, you know, she wouldn't be in the situation she's in right now.
But I feel like that I knew this early on. Like everything was put out about her. Like I knew, like, and that's a hard thing because like she's battling cancer, but she also apparently had a drug problem. Um, as far as with her man on the hill, whatever. They say it was weed, but like that's just that's alleged talk and what people are saying. Um, like like I feel like that was put out early on.
Well, see, it was, but only a small portion of those watching noticed that. Ones that
Uh,
watched her closely and ones that have had some unfortunate experiences with it, or around people who have had experiences with it, you've dealt with it, or somebody that was on it or done it, you know. And so a handful, you know, noticed it right off the bat, just like I noticed it right off the bat. Unfortunately, I was exposed to that. No, I didn't do it myself. Let me make that clear. But someone I knew very close did. And I seen a whole new different world. So, in my experience of what I seen through all that, I seen it in her. I didn't
Hmm.
automatically assume it was. I kept watching. I would say, hey, this is that. People didn't believe me. Of course, you're not going to believe me. You got to see it for yourself. So over the months, as it kept going, it kept going, it kept going, more people. Oh, okay. Then, like RJ knew too. Then RJ puts it out. Bam. Now they hot and heavy on it. Okay, well, we knew this months ago. This ain't nothing new.
Well, actually, I didn't know months before. I may have heard that she had a criminal background, but I didn't know the extent of it at the time
Right.
that I said that. I just had the gut instinct moment that I needed to say that, you know, how I worded it was, there was a creator with this particular person, Jody Sue, attached at her hip, and that she needed to needs to separate herself from that person, because there was it was gonna her a bridge was going to get burnt and she was going to be stuck in the middle, because Jody Sue don't give a damn
Oh,
about this other creator. Jody Sue only cares about what will give her views, what will bring her popularity. Because the way the YouTube works is, the more popularity, the more people, the more that a person gets views, is people believe that they are right. It's just a popularity contest, and I don't care about it.
well, I'll tell you this too. A person, and I'm not saying they're all like this, in my opinion, from what I've experienced. A person that has done meth and is on it, in my experience, what I experienced, they believe everything they tell. To them, it's not lying. They will take a lie and put one truthful word in it, and they're telling the truth. I don't care if you catch them red-handed. They telling the truth to them, up and down. They will believe it because to them that's the truth. You can't convince them otherwise. She
That's
is that
that's
person.
that's real.
It
That's real.
yes, it's real. And
I,
to them, they are not lying. That's what they believe. That's what they're stating. And you can't tell them otherwise. You can talk to them till you're blue in the face. You can sit there and show them proof. It don't matter. They're in their own world, their own rules, their own truth, and their own, everybody else is lying, no matter what. It's something that I have never, I, I was in service. I was in the Navy, and then I was in the Army. I've been all across the United States. I've seen all kinds of things. I have never in my life encountered anything like I have with this meth thing. Not even a person as mean and evil and triggering as people can be. This is a different type. I mean, I would know how to really explain it. It's just like it alters people
Mm-hmm.
so much, and it changes them, and they change themselves. It's crazy. And now I've seen people who function just fine on it. You wouldn't even know they were on it. It all comes back to that mental state.
that's real.
All comes back to that mental state. How, but it affects them no matter what. No matter if they have a mental illness or not, it still affects them in some sort of way. But if they, like the person I can refer to, had mental illness, and it really just, oh, it was like I could look into their eyes, and if I ever thought I seen the devil and a person with no soul, there it was. There it was.
Mm-hmm.
And the most horrific thing I've ever seen in my whole entire life. I mean, and I've seen some horrific things, but that right there, it just, just it's crazy. I mean, I can't even explain it.
So, Charlie, you were asking if she was on the registry. Yes, she was. She would have been on there for 10 years, and which is would I believe her sentence or when she was sentenced was either April or May. So it would only have been a few weeks to a month, about a month or two before Summer Wells had gone missing, that she had gotten off of being officially out from under this list, this registry.
And that's why, Charlie, I say kudos to you and be proud of yourself, because anything that you have accomplished a year and 6 months clean of anything, whatever it was, that is amazing.
There's moments where I don't know where she lives now, but there's moments where I question whether or not, because of the things she says and how she says them, if she's gone back to doing that again.
And see, that's why I say, and the longer you are exposed to it, the worse that you recover from it. That's what I'm saying, the long-term effects.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody, especially with that type of drug, that recovers from it. And
No.
always in recovery, but that does get clean off of that.
Oh yeah.
That is awesome, because like I said, it really affects the person and everything in them. And the longer they are exposing themselves to it, the worse that they get. And just like with her, it's not just the way a person talks, it's not just the way a person looks, it's also body reactions, twitches, smacks of lips, eyes, ears, hands, anything. It gives it away.
Oh yeah, it changes their mental state, and like especially with the way they speak. You heard the phrase, some you can tell somebody's a pothead by the way they speak, or it's a common, you can tell somebody, you know what I mean. If somebody's a long time hardcore pothead, you can tell they have the skater mentality, the whole how Hollywood portrays them to speak and things like that, and no judgment. Can't say anything about it. It's the same thing. But it's different. It changes their mental frame of mind and the way they speak. But Charlie, you said it was crack. No, this was not crack. When she was sentenced, the only way that she would have been on that list was if it was meth. In 2011, when she was sentenced, that list was still for meth users only. In 2014, it was expanded to be in all level 2 substance controlled items. Yes, it had to be meth. Because I don't know if you had seen that video where I talked about, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, my misunderstanding. I honestly, I'm getting tired, guys. So we're actually going to be wrapping up in a moment. But my apologies, Charlie. I thought you were saying her what she was doing was crack or whatever. But or dealing, because she was charged with dealing as well. But not to go over the whole history of that again. I went extensively in that in my last stream. I don't know if you had caught the beginning of that or not. But in the time that she was charged, and from 2005 through 2014, the only way a person would have been on that list, and it was originally for CPS to use with women that were expecting. That's the way it was drafted. but it quickly got changed to being anybody that was using and convicted of either dealing or using meth. That they wanted to monitor where they lived and who they were associating with. So they came up with in Tennessee with this registry list. But that's how that list came to be. If you watch, I would say all you have to do is watch the first 20 minutes of my last live. And I go into a good explanation of that list and how it came, the history of it, and how it's being used today. Well, ladies and Charlie, Lisa, I know, has already gone off to bed, but I'm still going to say thank you to her as well. Folks, I'm tired. It's been almost going on 4 hours tonight.
It has.
Oh my
Hours run deep.
Yes, hasn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And I would continue going if I had gotten a normal night's sleep last night. I would be up for keep going, but I'm at the point where I'm starting to drift, and which is what just happened just then, where I got myself a little twisted up in what Charlie was saying and everything else. But ladies, thank you very much. I know we will talk about this in a few moments. Go over the stream a little bit in a few moments. But it was a pleasure having both of you on, and I invite you or anybody else to, if you feel passionate or you want to talk about it, a story, something we're covering, please do not hesitate to just say, "Hey, I want to join you live." It was a pleasure having both of you on tonight. Thank you very much for everybody.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely.
Having us.
Absolutely. This was a hard conversation to have tonight, but it was one that I believe that had to be held tonight. So I'm glad you were both part of it, and who everybody else that did attend, that talk to us. We don't have many numbers as far, and I'm not worried about the numbers of people we reach. I'm only glad, that we reach at least one person.
Absolutely.
Even if somebody watches this on replay and we reach one person, it was well worth our time tonight.
Agreed.
Absolutely agreed. 100%.
But anyway, I want to say good night to everybody. Thank you for coming out. I am RJ, and I am out. Good night.
Peace out.